Leche. 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 Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting nifty up the Kraken. We stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call it truth. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, December 1st to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. A lot of work to do. A lot of work to do on this card, and I beat up this card. Coming off a disappointing day, 5-5, lost a little vig. But the problem was I didn't step on the Celtics. I was waiting to get the Jaylen Brown news. Finally it comes in. Of course, it moved the line to 10-6. Line went back to 9.5 and 6 just before tip-off. And I didn't move on it. So I went 2-4 in NBA. Would have given me a winning day overall. Would have done a lot of good for me. Washington, Brooklyn under 229.5 was easy. Raptors -3 was a disgrace. Rockets first half plus 6.5. Drill tried to talk me off of it, and he didn't. Jazz first half didn't cash. Jazz full game cashed so easily. That was the advantage, was going to be in the fourth quarter. I probably should have only focused there. And then I add Magic plus 6.5 late, which was awful. In NHL, Red Wings, Nedeljkovic is fucking sieve. But I think they're a better team in Buffalo, and they came back. Lost in a shootout. They were down 4-1, came back. New York, Ottawa under 6.5. Halak went in, but it didn't change the fact that this was a business trip for the New York Rangers after losing 3 straight and playing weak defense. And it was well done by them, and the under 6.5 was a gift. Sharks team total over 2.5 was a loser, and I was right about Aaron Dell. And, he's such a character guy, and he's playing at Air Canada Center. Next time he starts, we'll fade him. But he would look really good, and he can do that from time to time. That's why he still has a job as a backup. But the more he's counted on, the worse he performs. In college basketball, I enjoyed our segment very much, handling it solo. We went 4-1, 2 points away from sweeping the board. SMU became a very public underdog by the end of the day. It wasn't that wasn't the situation in the morning. By the nighttime, it was a public dog, and we know what public dogs do. They fucking lose, and they don't cover, and they take money out of the public's pocket. So that happened there, but Butler was, very smoothly broken down by us. I doubled up on first half, full game. It was never in doubt. They just wiped the floor with Kansas State. Just a fucking gift. Duke first half, they took over in the last 5 or 6 minutes of the first half. Catch that easily for us. Nebraska -5.5 was a thing of fucking beauty. So we're 16-8. 16-8 in college basketball, and we have Conor Mac opening up his account here in the college basketball season, making his NCAA debut. I'm going to get over this. Little things just fuck. But Carter was in here, and I can fucking tell that my camera is a little bit off. Carter crawling around in the office. I can just tell that it's a little fucked up, and I'm not going to think about it, but I'm thinking about it. All right, shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Let's get to work. FAP win. I was thinking about this earlier. I think, and obviously I can't track it, but I think that FAP win probably has the best record of anybody who drops plays off. It feels like it's just nonstop winners coming to us from FAP win. I'm going to pop this here. Thank you for sharing that with us. FAP coming to us from Australia. We did move on all of Flash's. Well, I took it a little too far, as I tend to. So I've got Argentina to reach the quarters, to reach the semis, to reach the finals, and to win outright. And they play your Aussies in the round of 16. So that's a big one. Big one. Usually don't care as much about footy, but I'm heavily invested. Mr. Vape in the house says, what up, everyone? Monaco. See, I'm thinking Morocco because I know Canada is losing to Morocco. No, although I didn't watch. Too much work to do. Whatever. Monaco minus 3.5 in the Euro League. They lead league in steals and free throws, as well as a bottom feeder that is bottom in all stats. Going to copy and paste that. Thank you for sharing that with us, Mr. Vape. Teamwork is what we're doing here. Ryan Mueller in the house. Great to see you, Ryan Mueller. Crypto-ish. Alex Hill, Series Business. Andrew G says, well, the Raptors tapped out early last night. Yes, the grind continues. I've already moved in NBA. I've moved on 3 bets in NHL. I've moved in 1 bet in NBA. I'm on the under 221. These two teams play at such a slow pace. I find it impossible to believe that the Mavericks won't dictate the pace. And I'm shocked that the total was set the way. I would have set it at 218. It was set at 223. Bet down to 221. I got in late, just overworking. Andrew G missed MDR 24. Dan Kelly, thank you, Dan Kelly. So I finally got in on some Dan Kelly action. I've been sitting on the sidelines for too long. I finally got in on Tom Kim. He gave us Tom Kim top 10 at the Hero Challenge, minus 120. That was minus 160 at my book, so I did get in on the top 9. I almost bet the top 8 at plus 110, which was probably a better bet. But I got in. I'm in and rolling with you, and I excited. Dan Kelly, no, I rock. This is Vancouver Athletic Club from the same time. This is like a 100-year-old hat. Well, it's not a 100-year-old hat, but the Vancouver Athletic Club hat that they used to rock, what came out 100 years ago. So yeah, Vancouver Athletic Club. Great to see all you guys. We have a ton of work to do. Mike M in the house. That Nuggets trifecta was a thing of beauty. Gerardo Hernandez. Slacky says, good on you for sticking with the Rangers. Underbelled off the Rangers on today. Heard Habs had a really long flight out west. Was dark when they landed. Flames first period minus half plus 118. I thought about the Flames. Dan Kelly says, sounds like Carter has a producer credit in the future. He's interested in what's going on here. And he's watching the Canadian soccer game now. So he's taking all the right steps to well, I just need him on the ice. I need him. I want him on the ice. Gerardo Hernandez already cashed. Canada, Morocco, both teams score. Oh, Canada tied it up then, I guess. I'm not paying attention. Lucci Mello in the house. There's Mally Mal. Says, I got some nice odd selling points on that Sacramento Kings spot. You guys were awesome in NBA yesterday. The chat was extremely strong. I was weak. Gerardo got Belgium versus Croatia. Both teams to score 0-0 and draw plus 172. Billy Friedrich, reverse sweep. Damn. Don't like hearing that. But it's time for Rabenga. I felt like we absolutely destroyed college basketball. And that's, in fact, it's the most exciting thing for me about today's card is getting to go back to NCAA basketball. There's JPZ for Sheezy, Lucas Ryan, Rodney M. So just to give you guys a heads up to get excited about college basketball, 16-8 right now in the young season. These are, that's not right. These are the games that we are attacking. So we're starting with NHL, Mr. Gogster. Then we move into NFL. Then we move on to one game in NBA. And then these are the games we are attacking in NCAA basketball. We're attacking Oklahoma State, UConn, Creighton, Texas. So a lot of Big East, Big 12 battles. Youngstown State, Northern Kentucky. Man, Norths are weak this year. Valparaiso, Belmont, Arizona Wildcats, Utah Utes, Texas State Bobcats, Lamar Cardinals, and more Big East, Big 12 battle with Seton Hall, Kansas, Washington Huskies, Oregon State Beavers, and the UCLA Bruins, Stanford Cardinal, to put a bow on this bitch. Nasty Nate in the house. Viper B, Oliver Page. Let's get to work. Let's get into NHL. It was disappointing to come out of yesterday's action down in unit. Thought we were seeing things pretty clearly. There's our guy Rocco Rogers in the house. I love it. And Dan Kelly says, you're not going to believe how much fun it is when Carter's about 12 playing youth hockey. I don't want to get too excited about that stuff. I don't want to put too much pressure on him playing. I don't want to get too excited about that stuff, Dan, because if he doesn't play, it'll shatter my heart and affect our relationship. So I don't want to get too caught up into it. Let's bring on your first guest. He had the father who was a professional hockey player as well. And it was the opposite. He wasn't pressured enough to play hockey, but he's also a extremely talented golfer. Please welcome from Belleville, Ontario, Mr. Gogster to the show. Gogster, how are you, my friend?
Hey, Jamie, thank you for that lovely intro. And speaking of golf, you have some golf action this week. Is that what I heard?
It's my first golf action in
Holy
2 years.
Welcome to the club. That's exciting to hear. We got to get you on the show next year coming up. Holy,
I don't think that's going to happen. But if we cash this, well, I'll keep rolling. I'll just roll it over. I'll roll it over.
I like it.
Let's get to work. A huge NHL card for us. And I still haven't tasted the black yet, man. I'm 28-33, 45.9%, down 3.84 units, ROI minus 6.30%, average line plus 106. And I want to get there. And I've made 3 bets already, and I started on this game. A couple things that are upsetting me is there's totals that I see. Like yesterday, just from watching hockey every day, I was like, look, Blackhawks, Oilers, going to go over. I see the total go from 6.5 to 6. It confuses me. I stay on the bench. We talk about it on the show. A great stat comes out where, Chicago's averaging less than 2 goals a game over their last 10 games.
Yeah.
It was 0-0 after the first period, and I was like, oh, I'm right. Here is one where I didn't even look at what was going on in the market. I couldn't. There was 2 games that I knew would be put at 6.5, and I figured they'd be juiced heavily to the over. That was the Colorado Avalanche, Buffalo Sabres, and the Vancouver Canucks, Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
The Vancouver Canucks, Florida Panthers was minus 135 to the over 6.5. This one was a pick'em, and I thought it was a mistake. There's our guy, Ick Schnizzle.
What's up,
says, we cashing tickets with the homies out. Lake Charles living it up. I love it.
Hey.
DC Capper says he got the winner Oklahoma State Arizona in his pocket. I'm looking forward to bang that out. Let's go. I'm on the over 6.5 in Colorado, Buffalo. I think that this game is going to fly over. I went to great lengths discussing the 3 excellent young defensemen on the Buffalo Sabres and how much they are playing. Game in and game out, we see them fall apart in the second half of the game. I do not know why Don Granato is doing this. It doesn't take much to see that he's making a mistake and it's affecting his hockey team. And the Avalanche come in off their second loss over 3 games, 5-0 Winnipeg on Tuesday night. They're still without Bowen Byram, Curtis McDermott. On defense up front, they're without their captain, Gabe Landeskog, who may be back near the end of January. Nishushkin, Helm, Rodriguez, Bowers, and Martin Cotton. Sabres are on the second half of back-to-back after snapping their 2-game losing streak with a 5-4 shootout win at Detroit last night. They're still missing Ilya Lyubushkin, which will help them. There's Sean Pulliam in the house. So let me just set up the line history here for Gogster and let him take it away. And, I don't – the small amount of action that we look at from Sports Insights, I guess it's a little bigger today, I guess it's a little bigger today. So I guess we can talk about at least every game's close to 1,000 or over 1,000. Here you have 2,129 tickets in. 10, of course, let's not talk about the money line tickets because we know that no pro would be betting these big favorite spots. So let's just look at the totals. It says 72% of tickets on there. You know what? Let's scrap this. It's just I don't find it helpful unless we have a game where it's like a pick'em.
Yeah,
then we can be interested in the money line spot. But line history wise here in this one, we have the Avs opening up minus 200. They're down to minus 174. This is a pinnacle. 26-cent move to the Sabres. And then from a total perspective, it's jumped up to minus 119 to the over. I love seeing that because I got in at minus 110, bet it and tweeted it out. Take it away for us, Gogster. Georgiev, Luukkonen, Avalanche, Sabres.
Yeah, I would have named this guy Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, something like that. But Georgiev, Luukkonen, I think we have a heavy advantage in net, though, Jimmy, with Georgiev here. I'm looking at my goals saved above expected, guys. You know I love this stat. Plus 974 compared to minus 5.10 for Luukkonen. The big thing here, I think, Jim, is Colorado's coming off that 5-0 loss to Winnipeg. So the only worry I would have is, are they just going to lock down, any team coming off, 5, just getting shut out like that. It gets me a little shaky there, but I think this is a Colorado spot. The only thing I'm worried about, Jim, is just the offense here for Colorado is kind of, I don't like this game, to be honest, guys, but the first line's fine. You got Cogliano, Comper, O'Connor. Then you got Luke Fody, who's an AHLer, Newhook, Galchenyuk, who's been all over the place, Drayden Hunt, Magna, and Blita. These guys, their second line, their bottom two lines, Jim, are pretty much AHL, which is not a bad thing, but they're missing some offensive production here. I lean towards Colorado here. I don't think they want to get in a goal fest here with Buffalo. I think that'd be an advantage Buffalo, but you have the better goalie in Georgiev. It's kind of a wash for me. Special teams in the last 10 games, 70% penalty kill for Buffalo, 82% for Colorado. Buffalo's been only 2-7-1. I have as well. In their last 10, 7-3 for Colorado. So I lean towards Colorado here, Jimmy. With the total, I'm not too sure, just because of Colorado coming off that 5-0 loss. Don't know if they're just going to shut down Buffalo here. And but I think Colorado can do what they want. But again, going back to their lineup doesn't scream offense for me. It really doesn't, Jim. So I'm off the total here. I'm going to root on the over for you, brother. But I lean Colorado, nothing on this game.
I think that their power play is at 32.4%, and Buffalo's penalty killing is at 73.1%. So I still believe there's going to be a ton of offense in this game, regardless of the bottom six of the Avalanche being AHL quality. I'm especially confident in them scoring goals after being shut out last out. So I feel very comfortable on this over 6.5 at -110. I like it a lot.
Yeah,
and it's just a 5-cent move right now. I bet 365. I like it a lot. So there we go. Avalanche, Sabres. I'm on the over 6.5, and you are staying off of this one?
Yeah, I'm staying off of just one thing. My power play penalty kill special teams, Jimmy, is the last 10 games too, guys. It's last 10 games I'm giving out, just so you might hear a little discrepancy there.
Cool. No, that's great. And we did the same thing last year as well. There's Brian Watson in the house.
Okay.
Birdie says Pat's O-line looks like it will be decimated tonight.
Ooh.
Wow. That's we will discuss all of that here shortly. Let's move on to 7 p.m. Eastern. Nashville Predators 10-9-2, 3-6-0 on the road. New Jersey Devils 19-4-0, 9-3-0 at home. We're at Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. UC Saros and Vitek Vanacek is expected for me. Let me know if there's mistakes there. 8-6-2, 2.92 goals against average, 9-10 save percentage for Saros. Those numbers will improve as the season goes on. Vanacek 11-2-0, 2.12 goals against average, 9.23 save percentage, 1 shutout. Nashville power play at 16.3%, penalty killing at 80.6%. Just to get a sign that what the Devils are doing will last and is real is the fact that they're 19.4% power play and they're 81.8% penalty killing. They have room to improve. This is a team that's 19-4, and they're not playing their best hockey, which is nuts. So let's take a look at the line history here in this one. Nashville opening up at +168. They're now +175. They got up to +187. From a total perspective, open up at 6.5 and then moved to 6. Interesting. Nashville comes in off its second win in 3 games, 2-1 in overtime at home to Anaheim. They're missing Mark Bororecki, but they're a healthy group. Devils have won 16 of their last 17. Franchise best 13-1 in November. An NHL best 16-0 when leading after 2 periods. They haven't gone into the extra session when leading after 2 periods. They're missing Andre Palat at forward and Nathan Bastian. And on defense, John Marino's day-to-day.
He's in. He should be playing.
I heard he was skating, yeah. AOD, my man. Respect. Kevin K in the house. Take it away for us, Mr. Gogster. Predators, Devils.
Yeah, well, just maybe want to give myself the old pat on the back here with the Devils farm team, guys. It's freaking good. They have offense top to bottom. Lindy Ruff has a great hockey team here. Even you said their power play stats. That's funny too. Yeah, I have 18% in their last 10 games, but they're still wiping the floor. Who was that one lost to? These guys right here. And let's just say the crowd wasn't too happy, Jim. They flooded the ice with beer. So. But shout out to the Devils, playing really good hockey right now. Marino should be playing. They said, the beat writer said he should be playing. So for what that's worth, I'd have to lean towards some unders here. I had originally last night, I had both teams to score here, but I want to scratch that out with Marino in, especially. It's a back-to-back tomorrow also for Nashville. So to be honest, I think this is more of an under team. Nashville, at least they've been trending that way. Saros, he's been actually getting a lot better, Jim. He's 0.91 save percentage, 2 plus 2.0 goals saved above expected. Vanacek, 6.44 and 0.923. And it's got to be the defense in front of him too, Jimmy. The Devils just top to bottom. This team's came out of nowhere, kind of like Vegas did when they had that expansion team. Like, I honestly, if they keep this up, Jim, I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the semifinals, against Boston or something. That'd be really interesting. But in this game here, I'm going to lean towards it's a no play, but I'm thinking it's going to be a tighter game, Jim. Penalty kills, though, this is the only issue, mate. What could be, though, 76% penalty kill in the last 10 games for Nashville, 80% for the Devils. So Nashville, like you said, they're pretty much healthy. I don't have anything on this game. What's everyone saying in the chat? What do you guys think in the chat in this one? I don't have much on this one, Jim. What are you thinking?
I did think that it would be a tighter game, seeing it move from 6.5 to 6.
Yeah.
I get it. I've often thought that Predators games will go under, and I have a vividness bias of them not, even though they don't score power play goals. And so that's kind of affected me. I'm comfortable just staying off of this, but Ron Crawford in the house. Ron Crawford making a move on the Devils in regulation. Spreadsheet play of the day for our Ron Crawford. I'm comfortable. We got a ton of games. We got 13 games, so let's just roll on here. I know we're going to have a lot of action. Slatsy says useless trend of the day. Pred 6-0 in last 6 in New Jersey. MDR says Devils in regulation or pass. Mike M on Devils in regulation as well.
I'd have to agree. This is only their second road game too, Jimmy, since November the 10th, and they've lost. They haven't been a good road team at all. They're coming off a long homestand for the most part. One road game against Detroit, win against Anaheim. Should be a tougher game for Nashville. I expect probably the Devils to win. Yeah.
Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern, Tampa Bay Lightning, 13-8-1, 6-5-0 on the road at the Philadelphia Flyers, 8-10-5, 5-5-1 at home. I said to everybody that the Flyers are going to lose a few weeks ago, and that they're going to end up the worst team in the NHL because they're dealing with injuries, but the vets in the lineup are now already despising Tortorella, and then they promptly lose 10 straight. Now, it doesn't matter that I said it. It's very difficult to make money off of it. They play hard, so you're not getting a bunch of puck line wins. I've not made any money off of it either. It's just a simple statement with what happens when Tortorella coaches a team, especially a team with veterans on it and a team coming out of the cellar, is they show a ton of life in the first 10 games before people start despising Torts. Here, it's another situation. How are you going to make money off of it? Because the Flyers are going to play hard, and they're going to play hard at home. This opens up with the Lightning minus 210. Now minus 226. This is always pinnacle openers. From a total perspective, it opened up as a pick 'em at 6. Now there's a 1 cent move to the under. You have Vasilevsky versus Carter Hart. Carter Hart's been very good this year. Not a great group in front of him. 7-5-4, 2.73 goals against average, 917 save percentage. Vasilevsky's been poor, looking a little better of late, but he's been poor. 8-7-1, 2.88 goals against average, 906 save percentage. Tampa power play at 28.6%, penalty killing 76.9%. Philadelphia power play at 13.9%, penalty killing at 73.6%. We talked about some of these key players that were injured, and then we talked about what would happen if they lose D'Angelo or Provorov, and now they've lost a D'Angelo. He missed Wednesday's game against the Islanders due to a lower body injury. He was a game-time decision, so he could be back here. He's very close to being back. He started out very strong, 5 points in 4 games, and guess what happened? Him and Tortorella are not going to work, and he's going to fall apart. This is not a relationship that will succeed. 5 points in his last 18 games. Konechny is such an important piece of this team. He's out for since November 22nd, 10 to 14 days. He's been skating. You have Cam Atkinson, who actually could return. And Cam Atkinson worked with Tortorella in Columbus. He knows how to deal with him. He actually could be on the ice tonight. It's interesting. This was supposed to be day-to-day at the beginning of the year. So nobody knows exactly what the hell's going on with this injury with Atkinson. Yeah. But that's the situation for them. Lightning had their 2-game winning streak snapped in a 3-1 loss at Boston on Tuesday night. Still missing Trelli and Rudolph Balcers, but that's it. And the Flyers snapped their 10-game losing streak with a 3-1 win at home over the Islanders on Tuesday night. Take it away for us, Gogster. Lightning, Flyers.
Yeah, there's a lot of question marks here with Phillies with their lineup here. Who's starting, who's not. I'm also seeing here possibly Konechny. Konechny eyes a return to the lineup after sustaining the upper body injury on November 17th. So Konechny's back, if they could get Atkinson back, D'Angelo, there's just a lot of question marks here with this game. But looking at Philly, they've allowed teams to score at least 3 goals in 9 of their last 10. So team total over on the opponent has been pretty hot. And this is, I think, a bounce back spot if there was any. The Phillies coming off that back-to-back against the Islanders. And Peter Loshek actually was telling us on Tuesday that it was there were scrums at the end of the game. Pete, like Philly was pissed off. They're ready for the next game. And they came out and straight up beat the Islanders, who are a good hockey team, 3-1. So I think on the other hand, Tampa Bay guys, they lost 3-1 to Boston, who's a great hockey team, as you know. Bounce back spot for Tampa Bay. This is not a no-brainer, but I'm going to have it in a parlay. That's what I'm going to do, Jimmy, but I wouldn't talk anybody off. Tampa Bay Lightning team total over 3.5. But I'm going to add this in a parlay, guys, in another game coming up. Quite high on Tampa Bay here, though.
Yeah, it's the Flyers are very tricky to fade at home. If you bet a unit on the Flyers money line at home every game this year, you'd be sitting comfortably in the black. But they're going to lose and lose and lose. It'll be interesting to watch what happens when Konechny and Atkinson come back. I imagine that Atkinson is one of the guys that will be able to succeed on this hockey team. Let's move on. Next up, 7 p.m. Eastern, Vegas Golden Knights, 17-6-1, 10-1-1 on the road at Pittsburgh Penguins, 11-8-4, 4-3-2 at home. We're at PPG Paints Arena, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Logan Thompson going up against Tristan Jarry. Thompson, 12-4-0, 2.44 goals against average, 921 save percentage, 2 shutouts, on his way to a possible Rookie of the Year. But Beniers has a lot to say about that, clearly. Jarry, 8-3-3, 2.91 goals against average, 914 save percentage, 1 shutout. Vegas power play at 20%. Penalty killing at 74.6%. They're not as good as their record indicates. But they're 10-1-1 on the road, and you have to respect that. Pittsburgh, 16.2%, 81.9%. Let's quickly take a look at the line history here in this one. We have, and also you guys know that I despise the Vegas Golden Knights just because of the success they've had as a franchise. When you're a Vancouver Canuck fan, you hate winners.
Same with this team.
Well, you guys are, is that a Pats jersey?
Oh, it's the boys.
Oh, okay, Leafs. I was hoping it was Toronto Pats, man. That'd be a winning team. I don't care about the Leafs. They lose and lose and lose.
We hate teams that win too.
Oh, yeah, no, I feel that. Pittsburgh opening up -114. They're now -112. They got up to -117. From a totals perspective, opened up at 6.5 at a pick'em. There's been a move towards the under. Slatsy says, and this is the most important angle in this cap, do the Pens win this for Letang? Chris Letang suffered a stroke. He's out indefinitely. He suffered a stroke in 2014. You guys know that I thought it was the worst contract that was given out, and I laughed. And this is not the right time to talk about the horrific contract that the Pittsburgh Penguins signed with Letang, who had previously had a stroke. And, you're signing him until he's 42. That's real smart stuff there.
Come on, guys.
Penguins coming off their second straight loss, 3-2 in overtime at home to Carolina on Tuesday night. Do they win this for Letang? Vegas snapped their 2-game losing streak with 3-2 shootout victory at Columbus on Monday night. Pietrangelo missed Monday's game with personal reasons, and he's not coming back for a few days. He might not come back for a week. What the hell's going on with Pietrangelo? He's important. He's an important piece to the team. Yeah. C. James says Pens money line and Crosby anytime goal. Mr. Always Profit in the house. Great to see you. Let's leave it to Gogster. Do they win this for Letang? I mean, I don't know, man.
Jeez, I didn't know he had a stroke. Yeah, that's and the second one too. You hope that hopefully it's not career ending, but it could be. So they're still fine though. They got Dumoulin, Petrie, Pedersen, Ruda, Oliver, Joseph, Rudwell. This game here, let's see. Originally, guys, what I was looking at to do here in this one, I did think there was going to be enough offense here. I think the goalies are going to really be tested here, despite their 7.25 goals saved above expected for Thompson, plus 4.03 for Jarry. So you have 2 good goalies, but without Pietrangelo, without Letang, Jim, this is, what do you think? That's offense right there for both of those teams. There's a lot of assists coming from both of those defensemen. So more I'm thinking about it, coming off 2 losses too. This is a tough hockey team for Pittsburgh to go up against. But Vegas have played Columbus, Vancouver, and Seattle. Not exactly the toughest of opponents, especially defensively. I would have to lean towards Pittsburgh here on the money line. What is it? -1. What do you see? 115, Jimmy. Also, both teams are scoring. You know what? Both teams are scoring in the first period is what I have written down here. Plus 135. When you get some emotion there too, I think there can be some offense. So both teams, they're healthy offensively. Jimmy, we don't have any big names out for either one of these teams offensively, right? So both teams are deep. I'm gonna go with both teams to score here, plus 135, and I'm gonna take. I don't know about the side here. I'm gonna lay off the side, but you could even see overtime possibly here. I think this is gonna be a battle of a hockey game. I think we're gonna see goals, despite losing some offense there, because you're losing a lot of assists from Letang and from Pietrangelo, but. I'm going to trust I got a gut feel here, Jimmy, with this both teams to score first period, even full game over 6, lean towards Pittsburgh, but I wouldn't be surprised if Vegas won this either. Vegas won this one either.
Well, this situation with the Pens this year, they've won 4 of their 9 home games in regulation. The Golden Knights won 10 of their 12 road games in regulation. In saying that, I think that the Vegas is going to slowly come back to earth, probably comfortably win the Pacific Division still. The question is, what's going to happen to the Penguins? Jeff Petry's looked bad. Now, this is not from Corsi numbers or anything, just from when I'm watching the Penguins play. I don't know how he was a.
I agree, Jim. Yeah, I was watching. Yeah, I agree.
I don't know how he was a Norris Trophy type defenseman for the first 60 games for the Habs, 2 years back. But Petry, Dumoulin, and then you have Pettersson, Ruidel, Pierre-Olivier Joseph. It's a very tough. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I tell you what they're going to do is not pinch very much. And Petry's going to know he's going to have to play 26 minutes, and same with Dumoulin. I expect less offense as Pittsburgh moves forward. I'm very curious to see what they do in this game. I'm very curious. It's the type of thing where Crosby will say, "Let's get the guys galvanized to do this for Tanger." Maybe I'm leaving money on the table.
Coming off 2 losses too, Jim, and they lost to Carolina, Toronto, 2 good hockey teams. Both of those games were at home too. Third game at home. You know what? First period, that might be the spot here for Pittsburgh. I think. You know what? Give me that one. I'm going to take Pittsburgh first period here comfortably. Coming off those 2 losses to 2 good hockey teams, Vegas has been slipping up of late. Yeah, I'm going to take Pittsburgh first period, whatever the best number is out there. I'm going to take Pittsburgh first period.
Well, let's get that for you. The more I talk about this game, I think there will be a lot of defensive responsibility from the Penguins. I think that the under 6.5, I think there's a reason why it's moving over there. So I'm going to move on the under 6.5. That'll be my first addition. Let's grab you this first period money line look on the Pens. You're getting a -110. That's a bookmaker and BetCris.
Yeah. And I'm going to scratch the both teams to score. Screw this gut feel from Gogster here. The one that I think makes sense is going to be Pittsburgh first period. And thanks, Jim. -110. Let's go.
All right, you got it. I'm going to add the under 6.5.
I like that.
To my action. All right, let's move on. Next up for us, Edmonton Oilers, 8 p.m. Eastern. Oilers 13-10-0, 7-4-0 at Minnesota. Wild 10-9-2, 5-6-1 at home. XL Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. Campbell will be in between the pipes, and he's got a lot to prove. I already mentioned, but for those of you who missed it, that I heard the goalie coach talking about what's going on with Campbell and saying that these issues are real. He's not positionally sound right now. He's overthinking things. He's small in the net. He's not coming out when he needs to, and he's coming out when he shouldn't. So he's making there's a lot of problems going on with him right now. 7-5-0, 4.04 goals against, average 875. Save percentage looks like he's losing his job to Stuart Skinner. Marc-Andre Fleury, 7-5-1, 2.91 goals against, average 901. Save percentage, 1 shutout. I would have taken Cam Talbot over Marc-Andre Fleury, but Guerin is a fan. And that hurts when your general manager is also a fan, of certain players, and it's affected the way he managed this. Edmonton power play at 27.4%, penalty killing at 72.8%. Minnesota power play at 23.2%, penalty killing at 82.4%. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have these Wild opening up -130, now -155. And it dropped to -141. I saw it at -150. And I thought, wow, that's a big favorite number for the Wild.
Yeah,
this total opened up -123 to the over. It's now -125 to the over. Now, look, Oilers are on the second half of a back-to-back after winning their third straight game, 5-4 in Chicago last night. Even though I see the Wild at -150, there's no chance I'm going to bet on the Oilers ever. Now, I still think they're going to win the Stanley Cup, but they're going to be bad. They're going to be bad for 2 or 3 months. They'll get Kane back in February. At the trade deadline, they'll add because of having Kane on the LITR. But they're missing so many depth pieces at forward. Evander Kane, Ryan McLeod, Klim Kostin, Kyle Yamamoto, Fogle. They're in trouble. So Wild come in off their third win in 4 games, 4-3 at home over Arizona. They don't look very good. They miss Hartman. And now Jonas Brodin is hurt as well. Slatsy says Oilers back-to-back 4 games in 6 nights in the shaky Campbell. Wild in regulation. Take it away for us here. I don't like what I see from the Wild.
Yeah.
And McDavid and Draisaitl can take over still in certain spots. But I agree, Slatsy. If I had a free bet, and maybe I get talked into it, I'd be on Minnesota -1. Take it away for us, Gogster.
All right, yeah, this one here. Right away, this might, despite there being, Campbell's been real bad. Yeah, -11, a goal saved above expected. I would think, is Hartman? Yeah, Hartman's still out. Yeah, Hartman's out. That still hurts this team. Penalty kill, Jim, for this team the last 10 games, even better than, I think he's at 86. It's not. I got 91% in the last 10. So defensively, this team seems to be fine. Power play is only 19%. Edmonton 74% penalty kill. Both teams have been trending a little bit to the over of late, but coming off that back-to-back last night for Edmonton, early here, I want to take no goal first 10 minutes. I don't have a lot to back that up, other than the fact that the spot here for Edmonton coming off that win, they beat the Rangers on the road, beat Florida 4-3, and then won last night. It was 6-5 against or 5-4 against Chicago. So with less offense too from Edmonton. Brodin, defenseman too. He might not be in, but Middleton, Spurgeon, Goligoski, Dumba. I don't mind their defense. It's getting a little older, but I still think I'm gonna. You know what? I always like having one of these on the card, guys. I know everyone in the chat likes these too, so let's do a little no goal, Jim. First 10 minutes. Actually, someone tweeted me out. One of these books have like no goal first 9 minutes, which is, and that came into effect. I think it was the game on Tuesday, Winnipeg and Colorado. So if you can find that, even better. But for the time being, I'm going to do no goal first 10 minutes, Jim, in this game. Kind of plug, not so much hold my breath here. I think this is going to be a slower start to this hockey game. I really do. Fleury, they both goalies have a chance to I think both goalies have a chance here to show something at least, Jim. To show that it's not an easy game, but I expect goaltending, Campbell to be a little bit better here, and Fleury likewise. So I don't have the greatest stats to back this one up, guys, but I'm going to trust the no goal first 10, and that's going to be at plus 155. Wow. Wow. Yeah, give me that, Jim.
You got plus 155 on it?
Yeah, at that number. That I do these a lot. That's a real high number, and I don't think it should be that high too. So
this is game 6 of a 7-game homestand. Probably a great spot for Minnesota. They've been quite a bit better their last 4 until the Arizona game.
The line would indicate it, right? Like that line definitely indicates. You wouldn't think it'd be that high just in cap and hockey, but
just take a quick. I'm going to do one thing here. I'd like just to see how much McDavid and Draisaitl played last night. Just take a quick look. I'm at, like, it'd be insane to play them too much.
They came on in the third period. I know was it 2-1, or it was a tighter game going into the third, and then both teams started to score. So
McDavid 27.06. Look at this. Draisaitl 26.13.
Yeah,
they have no depth whatsoever. I can't.
That's why I like. Do you not like the under then, Jim? Does that not make you like maybe an under here a little more? Do you like?
Why? I'd be concerned that they wouldn't back check. I have no faith in either of these two goaltenders.
I know.
Unfortunately, I think this is a Wild -1 scenario here. I really do. I think that Edmonton has no depth. Minnesota was playing much, much better. And then you kind of want to back Minnesota after they have that slip-up game, which is what they just had against Arizona. They didn't look good. It's game 6 of a 7-game homestand where they simply must succeed. And so sorry we're taking so long on this game, but I just, we're talking about fucking money here. And so look at they lose 6-4 Pittsburgh, and then 2 real nice wins. They beat Carolina in overtime. They beat Winnipeg 6-1. They barely lose to the Leafs, and we know how well the Leafs are playing right now. This is a wild -1. And
well said, Jim. No, you broke that. You broke that down a lot better than I did on my no goal first 10 minutes. That win against Winnipeg too. And what'd you say? They beat Carolina. Those are 2 good wins. And they've been scoring. They 3 against Toronto, 4 against Arizona, 6 against Winnipeg. So.
I'm with you, Slatsy. We got to keep moving. Are you adding anything?
No, I'm going to add the no goal first 10 minutes here.
Yeah, you got it locked in. We move on 8 p.m. Eastern. Carolina Hurricanes 12-6-5, 7-3-4 on the road. St. Louis Blues 11-11-0, 5-5-0 at home. They're not real. I mean, the fan base is panicking a little. The reporters are all over them, but the brass in St. Louis isn't panicking. They were in this situation when they won the Stanley Cup. Hurricanes have been playing very underwhelming hockey. It could be possible, and I would hate to think it, but maybe they're starting to tune out Rod the Bod Brindamore, because they've been listening to the same guy for a long time, and they're just not putting it together. Yeah. I looked at this and I thought this should be a pick'em. So when I went to see what it was the Blues plus 115. And I have to bet it. I have to bet it at 25 cents of value here. Kochetkov, I have listed. I'm not sure if he'll be in. 3-1-3, 2.27 goals against average, 917 save percentage. He's a good goalie. And will be the goaltender of the future here. Jordan Binnington, 9-8-0, 3.05 goals against average, 900 save percentage. We talked about the vividness bias that caused the Blues experts to pick Binnington over Husso. Yeah. Huge mistake. Carolina power play 16.5%, penalty killing at 80%. St. Louis power play at 22%, penalty killing at 69.4%. You don't think they could have traded Binnington over to the Edmonton Oilers? The Oilers would have taken Binnington over Campbell, I'm guessing, in the right situation. So let's take a quick look at the line history here. I just felt to have the Blues at plus 115 was something I couldn't pass up. Pinnacle has not opened this up. Interesting. Let's go to Bet365. They opened it up at plus 115. It popped at plus 120 for a second. Bookmaker ends back plus 115. Bookmaker at St. Louis plus 118. My total perspective, it opened up at 6, moved to 5.5. Wow, moved to 5.5. Carolina comes in off their second straight win, 3-2 in overtime at Pittsburgh on Tuesday. They're missing Pacioretty all year. They're missing Teuvo Teravainen, and he really helps with getting some depth scoring for them. Andre Kashe out as well. St. Louis comes in off their third loss in 4 games, 4-1 at home versus Dallas on Monday. Robert Thomas, I'm expecting he's going to be back in the lineup. He missed lower body injury this week, and he skated on Tuesday, practiced on Wednesday, and I need him in the lineup. I'm on even though I don't like what he's done since he signed the big contract, but I still need him in the lineup. I'm on the Blues plus 115. What are you doing here, Jose?
Well said, Jim. Again, you almost talked me into St. Louis here. To all transparency, I had written down Carolina plus the over. What was it? 5.5 at plus 200. Trying to get a little bit, just trying to get better value with Carolina, but it's a tough. I think it's going to be an over, Jim. I do. Penalty kill here for St. Louis. It's not been right. 68% in their last 10 games. That's not going to get it done. 14% power play. On the other hand, though, Carolina's they haven't been scoring as much, and even with that addition with Burns, I would have thought they would have been getting a little more offense from that. But Niederreiter, they got rid of Niederreiter. They got rid of some other guys too. So this game, I don't want anything to do with it. If I'm betting my hard-earned money on this one, guys, I'd almost lean towards you there, Jimmy, with St. Louis. But, maybe a both teams to score here in the first period, because I don't trust Branta or Benner. It could be Kochetkov too. So I would lean towards some goals here. Maybe a both teams to score first period. Teravainen could also be coming back pretty soon, Jimmy, at any time, really. So is he going to be playing today? I'm not too sure. He was traveling with the team from what I'm seeing. So There's a lot of question marks with this game for me, so I'm going to lay off, but I lean towards the over. And I can't play Carolina. You're right at that number, so I'm just going to stay off. If I did, it would Carolina plus the over 5.5. Even St. Louis plus the over 5.5. If you want to just make some profit, you get plus money on both of those. So
I don't think I'm going to bet an over in a Carolina Hurricane game this year.
I get it.
That's just me. I make so much money off their unders. I have for years. When I see a 6, I'm shocked. And there were only 6 because of how much scoring is going on in the NHL this year. But let's keep rolling. We got a ton of games, and we got to get into NFL after this. So 8:30 p.m. Eastern next up. Anaheim Ducks 6-15-2, 2-9-2 on the road. Dallas Stars 13-6-4, 6-2-2 at home. American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. This was a mistake of mine before the year started. I think I'm going to have enough right that we'll still get all my point totals and all my futures in the black, but Ducks were a mistake. Stars are 13-6-4, 6-2-2 at home. I love locking up Rupee Hintz. I loved everything he said about being locked up. He wants to be a Dallas Star for life. Dallas fans are very lucky, very fortunate to get the Sagan and Ben taste out of their mouths, to have Robertson and Hintz for the next 8 years. We don't know about Robertson. He just signed that 3-year contract or 4-year contract. Before the year started, but man, Rupee is fucking magic, and Robertson's so good. Like, you guys are very lucky. Anaheim power play at 15.2%, penalty killing 66.3%, Dallas 28.8%, and penalty killing 83.3%. Gibson, I'm telling you, I'm seeing signs. I'm seeing signs of him coming back to us. Now, he's got to do more, but I'm really seeing signs. There's some games where he's starting to step up. 4-12-2, 3.99 goals against average, 894 save percentage. He knows he's going to get the time to work it out. Jake Ottinger, 8-2-3, 2.52 goals against average, 917 save percentage. Those are the 3 guys they're building the team around, and Heiskanen. So 4 guys, really. But Ottinger, Heiskanen, Robertson, Hintz. Ducks coming off their 3rd straight loss, 2-1 in overtime at Nashville on Tuesday. Klingberg's missed Anaheim's last 3 games due to lower body injury. So, he's going to play at some point on this trip. Yeah, I was hoping he'd be in the lineup against former team, but it doesn't look like it'll be. Max Comtois, day-to-day. Jamie Drysdale, of course, out long-term. That really hurt them. Stars snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 4-1 win at St. Louis on Monday night. This is a good team. The Stars are a good team. Yeah. They're going to be a tough out in the playoffs. I'm not sure how far they'll go at this point, but, they're a good team. They opened up at minus 293. They're now minus 306. This total opened up at 6. It's now at 6.5. I mean, you just don't make money with these spots in the NHL. Take it away for us, though, Gogster. Ducks, Stars.
I was just looking at this lineup for the Stars, and someone in the chat are saying I'm humming and hawing a bit. The Pittsburgh money line first period, I'm feeling great on that one. And also, someone in the chat, I think it was Rocco. He literally, I guess he knows me too well, because Tampa Bay money line and Dallas money line at minus 103 is literally exactly what I have written down, Jimmy. So that's the money line parlay. Looking at the lineup, though, for Dallas, they've split up the big 3. Jamie Benn's on the 3rd line with Wyatt Johnston, who's an absolute stud. This guy's been tearing it up for this team. They've been scoring left, right, and center. He's a big reason why. Ty Deladore, butchering his last name, Kiviranta, Guryanov. But then their second line, Mason Marchment, I'd say build your team around him, too. He wasn't even drafted, I think. I think this guy came out of nowhere. He played for the Marlies, but Tough kid, yeah, and his dad played in the league too. Fasca was Sagan, and then the top line you got Pavelski, Henson, Robertson. They finally figured it out, I think, Dallas, with their lineup and everything. So Anaheim, on the other hand, Gibson was hurt too a couple games ago. He got player fell right on him. I think it was Shattenkirk. He shot right on his goalie, and it looked like his leg got stuck behind him. That's why he missed the last game, but. Gibson, I think this is going to be a tough task. This team's got some young up-and-coming players, Anaheim, but defensively, no Klingberg, no Drysdale. They haven't been able to stop anybody. Penalty kill is 70%. Power play in the last 10 games for Dallas is 30%. It's going to be too much, I think, for Anaheim. I wouldn't talk anybody off, even the puck line, Jimmy. I don't like taking puck lines because I'm 0-70 taking puck lines in hockey, but I think Dallas get her done here. Moneyline parlay, guys, with Tampa Bay minus 103, Tampa over Philly, and Dallas over Anaheim.
You are in business. Lightning Stars moneyline parlay minus 103. 9 p.m. Eastern. Montreal Canadiens 11-10-1, 5-4-1 on the road. Calgary Flames 10-9-3, 7-4-1 at home. Scotiabank Saddledome. Calgary, Alberta. another mistake, I thought that the Habs would be very vulnerable on the road. That's not being the case. Not sure who's going to be between the pipes between Allen and Montembeault. Maybe Slatsy knows. Maybe Gogster knows. If it's Allen, is it Allen?
I got Allen. It's not confirmed. I'll look into it while you're talking here, Jim.
I have Allen as well at this point. 6-8-0, 3.57 goals against average, 90 save percentage. We are getting into NFL after just a couple more games here, and then we have NBA. I've already moved on the one game on NBA, and then we have Conor Mac joining us for 9 games of NCAA basketball breakdown. We're coming off a 4-1 date and on 16-8 season so far. Montreal power play 14.9%, penalty killing 81.3%. It's hard to believe, with the best power play forward since Brett Hull is your coach, and your power plays at 14.9%. That's got to be tough for Marty St. Louis to watch. But they're penalty killing 81.3%. Calgary power play at 20%, penalty killing 80%. Jacob Markstrom is the contract's just going to be a chain around the neck of the Calgary Flames for years now. It was a mistake. Montreal, their 2-game winning streak snapped in a 4-0 loss at home to San Jose on Tuesday night. Hoffman, Byron, and Drouin out of the lineup, 3 forwards out of the lineup. Flames snapped their 3-game losing streak with a 6-2 win at home over the Panthers on Tuesday night. Oliver Kylington is out for personal reasons. That does hurt the defense here. Let's take a look at the line history for this one. You have an angry Hab squad, and you have a Flame squad that I don't believe in. There's been a 10-cent move to the Habs. Flames opened up minus 283. They're now minus 273. From a total perspective, it opened up at 6, minus 116 to the over. Now it's minus 117 to the over, but it did hit 6.5 for a little bit and back to 6. Mm-hmm. Take it away for us, Gogster. Habs, Flames. God, 86 Stanley Cup final, 89 Stanley Cup final. Jesus. Okay, take it away.
Yeah, who is that? Fleury, right, for Calgary?
Oh, Fleury, yeah, when he gets down on his knees and he's man, the 86 Stanley Cup final was magic too. But take it away, man.
Yeah. Allen and Markstrom here, both goalies subpar save percentages, Jimmy, and I don't think it's going to change really. Markstrom, if anything, maybe he'll get a little bit better, but both goalies, goals saved above expected guys are minus 7, combined minus 14. Montreal coming off that 4-0 loss, Jim. I expect whenever teams coming off those 4-0 losses, not bounce back, but putting in a strong effort. Like, unless you're just a team that doesn't have the offense or the team to do it, but Montreal here, I think they'll be fine offensively. Jimmy, they got Anderson, Monahan, Armia on the third line, Dvorak, Gallagher, Dadonov, and then the top 2 there, Caulfield, Suzuki, and then Kirby Dach. So what I'm going to get to here is with bad goaltending with a Calgary team too, that's just 10-9. They got to start winning some hockey games. So just because they won that first game, I don't think against Florida after losing their last 3. They got to string some more wins together. And Montreal is coming off a pissed off 4-0 loss to a bad San Jose team. I'm going to go with both teams to score here, Jimmy, in the first period, and that's at plus 150. I really like that number. Feel pretty confident in that one. Just we got bad goaltending here. We got a team that's coming off 6-2 against Florida. Montreal defensively too, Jimmy. I don't think they're that. They're okay. They're very young. But then also, I'm just seeing here too where they don't have Wi-Fi. I don't see Wi-Fi here at Zexiac. I'm not sure if this site I'm looking at is incorrect. Maybe Slatsy can let us know if Wi-Fi is in. But I think there's going to be some goals. Just like I said, 4-0 loss, first period, come out strong, and then Calgary. They got to put the pedal to the metal here, Jim. They got to string some wins together, 10-9. I think this team's better than that personally.
Yeah, I get it. I don't want anything to do. This would be Habs or no bet. Cheshire Cat says Jimmy's disdain for the Flames hurts me a little. Well, we talk about the 86 Stanley Cup final, 89 Stanley Cup final. The first hatred for the Flames came in 1989. I believe they were 56 points better than the Vancouver Canucks in the first round of that playoffs. We had Paul Reinhart, who was an ex-Flame. We took you guys to Game 7 of the first round. You guys went on to win the Stanley Cup. We took you to Game 7, and the Steamer missed a breakaway. Skriko hit the post, and then fucking Poplinski off of his skate scores a goal that would not be allowed now. And then you guys go on and win the fucking cup. So my hatred for the Flames has built up and built up and built up, and it's seething. All right, let's move on. 10 p.m. Eastern, Washington Capitals 10-11-3, 3-7-2 on the road at Seattle Kraken, 14-5-3, 6-4-2 at home. We're at Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. Darcy Kemp, and it negatively affects my capping. You don't get me wrong, I know it, and I know that people who don't hate certain teams are better cappers because their heart's not involved. And look, I fucking despise the Flames. When I see the jersey, I okay.
Only team I guess I would despise would probably be Boston. You can probably tell. I love you, Jose. Would be Boston. I never want to. I don't know why. I never want to like bet on them. I'm always trying to find reasons not to take them. It's just because of being a Toronto fan and what they've done in the last 10 years. But other than that, I no qualms for anybody else. You know, as Canadian, born in '93. I don't really have too much hate for any other team. I actually like when the Canadian teams do well, Jimmy. But I
despise them all. Darcy Kemper, 8-9-1, 2.51 goals against average, 917 save percentage, 2 shutouts. I don't know. I find it hard to believe that Grubauer would be in net, but they have him listed. Washington power play 20.2%, penalty killing 80.6%. Seattle power play 26%, penalty killing 68.6%. Like I feel all this anger now all of a sudden. You know, like it's God, sports.
Should you get the Kraken, or is it too early?
Oh no, I'm drying out. I'm not touching any Kraken until Sunday, so I'll get the full week off of sauce. I need the full week off of sauce. Sunday in my live stream, I'll get back into the sauce. Seattle opening up at -119. They're now -116. From a total perspective, opened up at 6 juice to the under. It's now juice to the over. Washington comes in off their third win in 4 games, 5-1 at Vancouver on Tuesday night. Boudreau was saying how they were bullying the Canucks, and Shen was like, they were out hustling us. He's like, I wouldn't say they were bullying us. Shen said he looked at every single Capital. He's like, will any of these guys fight me? They're a bunch of bitches. He said he thought one guy on that team might fight him.
Did he really? Eh? Did he?
Yeah, he's like, we weren't bullied, but we were being out hustled and outworked by Washington. Orlov still out. It hurts them badly. Hagelin, Brown, Backstrom, and Wilson all out for the Caps. Seattle comes in off their 6th straight win, 9-8 in overtime in LA on Tuesday. Geeky and Donskoy are dealing with injuries.
I was all over that over too.
I heard that. I heard you said they could score 10. Take it away for us here, Gogster. We got to be quick. We got to get into NFL. Capitals, Kraken.
Well, yeah, Seattle's been one of the hotter teams in the league, 8-1-1 last 10 games. But Jimmy, their penalty kill 64% in their last 10 games. That's not going to get her done. I know the power play for Washington's only 11%, but I think these guys they're trending in the right direction. Eventually, once they get these bigger names back, Washington, I think, are going to start winning. Was all over them against Vancouver, 5-1 win, first period full game. They beat Calgary 3-0 2 games before that, lost 5-1 to the Devils, good hockey team. Beat Vancouver like I expected them to do. And Seattle, if there's a team that's fat and happy, and maybe I expected them to be a good hockey team, but they're almost over. They're doing better than I even expected them to be doing. And is Grubauer going to be a net? I see a possibility of Grubauer starting here. So that would be his first game back, I believe, in a while. So is it going to be Grubauer? Is it going to be Jones? Kemper, I think, is going to start over Lindgren, but either Lindgren or Kemper, I don't mind. We got a goaltending advantage in Washington, and 5-1 win. I'm going to roll the momentum for Washington here, guys. I'm going to take them +110, Jimmy, money line. Despite how good Seattle's looked, I'm gonna take Washington here. Just ride the. Both teams have been hot, but I think Seattle's over. They're doing better. Like I said, they're doing better than I expected, and their penalty kill being 64%. They got some holes there. So Washington does what they did against Vancouver. This is good hockey team, Seattle, but I think goaltending is going to keep Washington in this game, and I'm going to trust Washington here just to keep the hot hand. +110. Let's go.
You got it. I like the look. I've got the Caps not to make the playoffs, and again, some of my future bets getting messed with my head a bit. To me, the dad says Morocco wins the group. I sent salt. You can't hide it. Yeah, I'm still angry because we've talked about the Calgary Flames. If you think that I care about what happens in Canadian soccer, you're wrong. Gogster is on the Capitals at +110. Now, I would like Canadian soccer to become something that we care about, and I look forward to the World Cup in 4 years. But you think I care if Morocco drags their nutsack along the faces of the Canadian national team? Let's move on to another spot that I moved on. Florida Panthers 10-9-4, 4-7-1 on the road. The Vancouver Canucks 9-11-3, 3-5-1 at home. Rogers Arena. This is the seething anger for me just talking about the Calgary Flames. That's the problem with soccer in our country, is that we're hockey players. Rogers Arena in Vancouver, BC. Sergei Bobrovsky, Thatcher Demko. Bobrovsky 4-6-1, 3.84 goals against average, 878 save percentage. He's going to lose the job to Spencer Knight, and Spencer Knight might be in goal here. Thatcher Demko not playing well, 3-9-2, 3.81 goals against average, 885 save percentage. I moved on to Canucks at plus 115 here, and this could blow up in my face if Ekblad plays, but I don't even know if he's with them. I don't think, from what I have taken, is he's not traveling with the team. He's been out for the last 3 games with a non-COVID illness, and they say he's feeling better recently. But
Barkey, yeah,
I don't know if he's there. And so, sure, the Flames beat the Panthers 6-2 when Barkov's not on the ice. But Vancouver had their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 5-1 loss at home to Washington, and Boudreau lost it on them, completely lost it on them. About them not fighting hard enough, not playing hard enough. So I love this spot for Vancouver. Probably even Vancouver first period. I don't want to double up here, but I'm on the Canucks plus 115 money line. Take it away, Gogster. We got to be quick. Got to get in the NFL.
Okay, yeah. So Florida here coming off just loss. Without Barkov, I said it in the show before. That's their heartbeat. That's like that's the beat that keeps the drum going. They finally took Cousy off the first line. Jimmy Nick Cousins from Belleville grew up with it. Grew up with the guy. Just isn't a first line in my opinion. They got him on the second line. Finally brought Verhaeghe up with Bennett and Tkachuk. They got a first line now. Pissed off hockey team in Florida. You just told me how much Boudreau ripped into Florida, ripped into them. Both goaltending here. Knight, I got to see a lot more from Knight long term. I'm not too high on Knight like other people are, despite him having a 2.87 goals saved above expected. Demko minus 9.95. Both teams to score is where I'm getting at here, Jimmy. First period, both teams to score plus 130. I don't mind your Vancouver look as well, but I think Florida, whenever you have a team that haven't won in their last 3 or 4 games, and defensively in their goaltending in Vancouver, it doesn't, it's not top tier. So I think I strongly believe that we can get some goals here early, even as the game goes on. Both teams have been heavy trending especially Florida. Jesus, Florida's had their last 8 games have gone over, Jim, and this hasn't really been close. So. For both teams, first period plus 130. Let's rock and roll.
You got it. And the Canucks defense is pitiful, but Spencer Knight will be a top 10 goaltender in the NHL.
I'm not going to bet you like Nettle. Okay, I'm gonna let that one go.
Okay. Next up, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, Arizona Coyotes, LA Kings. We're getting into NFL after this. And remember, before last Thursday, Gogster had swept the board in 2 Thursdays in a row. Coyotes, Kings, Crypto.com. Vamelka. I guess it was 2 Thursdays ago because we didn't have the show on last Thursday. Jonathan Quick, Vamelka. Quick looks bad, but they just jettisoned Peterson. So it's Quick's job. He's going to have it.
What did they do?
Cal Peterson's gone. They waived him. They cut him.
Oh, they did finally.
Yeah, he's fucked off. And my bad for saying Ekblad. I was thinking Barkov. I'm still getting.
Yeah. You said Ekblad too. I was like, oh no, yeah, Barkov.
I was saying Barkov being sick. Okay, so yes, here we go. Last game until we get into NFL, then NBA, then NCAA basketball. Arizona power play 23.2%, been very good all year. 79.8% penalty killing. Kings power play 23.6%, penalty killing at 72.3%. When we talk about the soccer, I mean, Flash got me, and I put too much money on it. Flash got me on Argentina. So there's one team I care about in the World Cup was Argentina. Watching them lose to Saudi Arabia off the top, I was like, oh no, what have I done? But they have a really easy path right now, and so that's the only soccer that I care about. Okay. Enough said we did have a show last Thursday. We have 3 shows. Brandon the Great NFL's coming on right after this. Let's just talk about the line history here. And just back to the Kraken thing. You talk about the issues when you watch sports all day, and there's a ton of them. And I think the best cappers are ones that probably don't watch sports all day. But I thought that McTavish had a better chance at Rookie of the Year than Beniers. And looking back at that, I can see the mistake I made. Of course, I was just taking the Canadian kid over the American kid. Stupid Beniers. Now, maybe McTavish will have the last laugh later, but Beniers is a fucking stud. Yeah. All right, let's go into this here. Kings.
He's only 20 years old, too. The kid's 20 years old.
Oh, well, they're both young, very young. But but Beniers is a fucking stud. Kings open up minus 242. They're now minus 246. Betting against the Coyotes, not good for your pockets. The total is a pick 'em. There's been a 7-cent move to the over. Arizona comes in off their second straight loss 4-3 at Minnesota on Sunday. They play hard. Kings coming off their second straight overtime loss 9-8 in overtime at home to Seattle. Iafallo could return tonight. Brendan Lemieux's out. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out who the hell their backup's going to be for the Kings now. If you waive Pettersson, who'd you bring up? They might have brought up Grosnick, Troy Grosnick. He used to play for Detroit or for Boston a couple years ago. He's been bounced around the league, so I'd imagine they go with him before they went with Villalta, who's actually from Kingston. Shout out to Birdie there. This guy's from Kingston, the backup or the goalie for Ontario Reign. So maybe he gets to start with the Kings. Vejmelka quick. I gotta think this is going to be 9-8 game. That was quite the hockey game. They put their best foot forward. They had Gabriel Velarde back, which I said he scored 2 goals. You knew him back in the lineup, not being in against Ottawa, he was going to do something. Offensively, if they can get Iafallo back, this team's going to start winning games again. I think he's a real just playoff hockey type of player. Looking at Arizona, they can score, Jimmy. But what I'm going to go towards here is actually I'm going to be a little cute with this one. It's going to be LA Kings plus the over 6.5, Jimmy, and that's going to be at plus what do we got? Plus 180. LA Kings plus the over 6.5. Looking at the penalty kill for the Kings, it's 61% in the last 10 games. Not good, but their power play, Jimmy's 37%. Kyliev there, he's got an absolute rocket. Yeah, he's got an absolute bullet. I watched against Ottawa. He put 2 in the back of the net on the power play, and then they got 8 against Seattle. Now you got Arizona, who's not, like you said, you're not going to make a lot of money betting on Arizona, but get those nice plus numbers against Toronto, and then you might. Give me the Kings, Jimmy, over 6.5 and plus 180, guys. Look for them to bounce back.
Plus 180, you got it. I'm always very concerned expecting goals after the floodgates open up in a game.
I think the Coyotes, their power plays dropped off. I remember it was like 28% in the last couple of weeks, down to 14. Penalty kill 77, but they can. I think they can score. Their offense isn't that bad. See if I can bring it up just really, really quickly here. Boyd, Keller, Schmaltz, Krause, Bjorkstad, McKelly here, who's been a good AHLer who's called up. Their bottom 2 lines are a little suspect, but yeah, and then you still got Chychrun until he gets traded. Chychrun, Gostisbehere, Moser. It's not a great hockey team, but I'm gonna need a birthday pick from Gogster today.
Yeah, set one up. Let's review all action. Set up a birthday pick here. Let's review all action. I'm already on. Oh Jesus!
I heard you guys talking that shit about the fucking best team in hockey, kid.
Give it to me.
Oh my Gogster, the fucking Maple Leafs, dude. The Bruins are a fucking doormat for the Bruins every fucking year. Every year it's the same bullshit. Brad Marchand fucking slaps that ass real nice and proper. And Jimmy
he'll lick your ear. That's what he'll do.
Jimmy knows our past encounters. He knows who Tim Thomas is, the best goalie ever, the best postseason goalie of all time.
Fine, Timmy.
He knows.
I have got nothing to fight back with. They're the best team in the league. What am I supposed to say? They beat the Canucks in the Stanley Cup final, and we lit our city on fire.
Their announcer is a fucking joke. That announcer,
fucking awesome announcer, and he's doing a great job. Gogster, don't listen to our announcers. Then listen to your fucking own bias broadcast.
He's as what's the word here? He's as biased as they come. That guy.
Good. That's how we like it.
Okay, let's review all action. I'm on the over 6.5 minus 110 in Colorado, Buffalo with confidence. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play today is the New Jersey Devils. We stayed off Lightning Flyers. Gogster's on the Penguins first period at minus 110. Mm-hmm. I'm on the under 6.5. That's an addition. I think that's the only addition I'm making. Gogster's on no goal. No, I'm adding Wild minus 1. Okay, so Gogster's on no goal first 10 minutes in Edmonton, Minnesota. I'm on Wild minus 1. I'm on the Blues plus 115. I already bet it. Again, I thought the Blues and the Canucks, 2 home dogs, it set up the perfect Vegas night because you put a big chunk of money on both. You get one, you're slightly in the profit. You get both, you're laughing. It just sets up for a real fun night at the sports book. I'm on the Blues plus 115. Gogster's on a Lightning Stars money line parlay at minus 103. Gogster's on first period, both teams to score in Habs, Flames. Gogster's on the Capitals at plus 110. I'm on the Canucks at plus 115. In that game, Gogster's on first period, both teams to score at plus 130. And Gogster's on the Kings over 6.5 parlay at plus 180. And do you have your birthday pick for young Clintus Maxim?
Oh, I feel bad. This is our guy Loshak's thing, but if I were to have to give one, you know what, Clint, let's do that moneyline parlay, brother. Let's throw a little action on the Tampa Bay and Dallas moneyline parlay. I think that can take you to the promised land. Our guy Rocco is on it too. Great minds think alike. Let's cash that one. Happy birthday, Clint. It's a long time low bagger OG. Can't wait to meet up one day, brother. And happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Clint. A great guy, great friend.
Yes.
And go get that cash. It's Clint's birthday today. All right, we move on to NFL. Coming off site, winning week 5-4, up 0.6 units. The year's been wonderful. It doesn't feel like it because I was on coming off of 2 losing weeks in a row before the winning week, but it's been a great year. 74-53, 58.3%, plus 15.4 units ROI, plus 12.13% average line, minus 110. I love this Thursday nighter, and we heard from Birdie very confidently on the Bills. And it all comes down to the injury report. So let's just start with the injury report, and then we'll break everything down. And it's the Patriots injury report that is most important here. For the Bills, they're not going to have Deion Dawkins, and Von Miller is going to be out for some time. Not sure how long, but some time. Quentin Morris is questionable with an illness, but all the other players that were questionable are playing. And that's a ton of them. So it's Josh Allen will be playing. They have a bunch of guys sick, right? We knew the flu bug went. Now, that flu bug was on Sunday, but it's only been a few days. But Khalil Shakir, illness, a wide receiver that's not used. He's going to play. Safety DeMar Hamlin, sick. He's going to play. Cornerback Dane Jackson, sick. He's going to play. Safety Jaquan Johnson, sick. He's going to play. Mitch Morse, this is a big deal. He'll be in. Their offensive lineman, Mitch Morse, will be in. Linebacker Tremaine Edmonds, groin, will be in. Jordan Phillips, eye, will be in. Here's a big one. AJ Epinesa will be in. Greg Rousseau will also be in the lineup. So it's really great news. Their cornerback Cam Lewis, forearm will be in. But it's really great news for the Bills. Here is the Patriots. Damian Harris and their lineman Isaiah Wynn are out for sure. The big question here is David Andrew. He is the most important piece of the puzzle for anyone backing the Bills. David Andrews has a thigh injury. It sucks that Isaiah Wynn's not going to be there. David Andrews is crucial here. Sharpie says, anyone else worried about the 1.5 point move to the Patriots? Happened 2 days ago, went from 5.5 to 4. It went more than that. Now, I bet on Tuesday night, I bet the Patriots at +5, and there's a bunch of 3.5s. I got in on the Patriots at +5, and my co-host on Gridiron Gamblers, Andy Molitor, he's on the over 43.5. So we both have action in this football game. And don't forget, our next guest, after we're going to go to NBA next and then college basketball, Conor Mac will be hosting our live stream tonight, and he's got a beauty on his hands. It's 3.5 across the board right now. So the Patriots opened up at 5.5. They're now at 3.5. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 45. It's now at 44. It never got to 43.5 at Pinnacle. There's Tone Miggins in the house. What up, Tone? BJ says, not scared of the line move at all. Better value I get on Buffalo. Josh Allen knows this game is important. Nasty Nate says, Pat smash. Nutflush On says, don't put too many bets on this game. Just take Josh Allen rushing prop over and sit back and have a drink. Let's move. And then Spenny says, I've been waiting since Tuesday for Stevenson's rush receiving, and it's still not listed. Asking if anyone has it. Let's take a look at the cash flow because it's a big deal. And we got Sharpie's action in here. Great to have Sharpie giving us his action here. Also, we have Sharpie's the best bet on our YouTube page, on our homepage under NFL picks. And I apologize for Carter nonplussed somewhere in the living room. I think he just watched the Canada game and he's pissed off. Yeah. Bills, Patriots, they've given 60% line value, the second highest line value on the card, to the New England Patriots, Sports Insights. There's 45,220 tickets in, 42% of the tickets and 65% of the cash is on the New England Patriots. 58% of the tickets are on Buffalo, 35% of the cash. Then total-wise, 37% of tickets are on the under, but 71% of cash. And that was the same deal on Tuesday night, and that did not concern Andy at all. Let's take a quick look at Sharpies on Josh Allen rush yards over 44.5. So since 2021, 3 games versus New England, he's averaging 57 yards a game and 2 versus rush yards over, averaging 67 this year in the 2 division games they have played. And check out his video here. I'm going to copy and paste Sharpie's action here. Okay, I'm just going to quickly set a table here. One thing that's happened all over North America is it's much colder than the news had set it up. It's much colder. 34 Fahrenheit. Clear, 6 miles per hour. We didn't think it was going to be that cold, but it's not that cold, but it's still colder than we expected. And it's colder everywhere. The Bills come into this tied with the Dolphins top the AFC East. Look, they're 1-4 against spread over their last 5. They're 7-2 to the under in their last 9. This is their 3rd straight road game, something that you don't see and only happened because they moved locations. That's tough, 3 straight road games. They have the flu bug running through their team. That's a lot of adversity. And we can expect them to handle the adversity, but that's a lot of adversity that they are dealing with. Poyer showed that he's over the elbow injury. He looked good. 10 tackles against the Lions. And Von Miller out. I'm very, very interested to see how they look defensively, but I think they're going to get help with Rousseau and AJ Epinesa. I did not think Epinesa would be back. So here we go. New England coming off a disappointing 33-26 loss in Minnesota. What we know is they outgained them, but they were bad on 3rd down, and they were terrible in the 4th quarter when the game was on the line, and they need David Andrews. Marquand Fit says Bills win easily. Take it away for us. I got the Pats +5 on Tuesday night. Okay. We've got a lot of looks here, but we haven't got looks from Mr. Gogster. The floor is yours.
All righty. Yeah. And Sharpie's saying 34, but what does it feel like? That's a good point there. Whenever you got the wind, it's not the cold, it's the wind, guys. Anytime it gets really, because if you got some wind going on, which there's a little bit of wind, 12 miles an hour, then 11, 10, 9. So it's going to slowly start to slow down. But in this game, also, you're talking about the injuries, Jimmy. I'm also seeing a guy on Buffalo here. Looks like he's out. Dion Dawkins, left tackle. He's out. I don't know if you said him. So that doesn't help them either. The flu bug going around is not good. They beat Detroit, but that was just barely. 7 of the last 9 have gone under the total for Buffalo. 3 of the last 4 have gone under the total for the Pats as well. These are just some trends for you guys. When Buffalo are 4 points favored or less, they're 2-1-1. When the Pats are an ATS underdog, they're 2-3. Buffalo have scored 24 plus points 6 of their last 7 games, so they're still scoring, but you're going up against a team that's heavy trending to the under, good defense. I don't think there's too injury wise for New England. I don't think there's too much on the defense here. The defense looks pretty well intact. Jalen Mills, right cornerback, but other than that, they look pretty well intact. Where I'm going to get to this, guys, Buffalo struggles versus top-tier wide receivers. That's what I've noticed. Versus the Jets, Wilson here, 92 yards. Jefferson, 197. Cooper, 113. St. Brown last week, 122. So Buffalo's, their cornerbacks, they're not able to stop a lot. And Mac Jones, he's only been getting better, Jimmy. His quarterback rating's gone from 89 to 104 to 119. Against Indy, 147. Against the Jets, 246. And then against Minnesota, 382. I don't think he's going to get 382 again, but he's been able to throw the ball with no problems. And the Bills secondary's they've been allowing top receivers to get yards, right? So they're the top receiver for New England. Do they have one? It's Aguilar and Parker. I'm going to trust Devontae Parker here, Jimmy. 3 of the last 5, he's gone over this total of 35.5 receiving yards. It's depending on the weather, as long as the wind's not too crazy. And I think they're going to have to come back. I think Buffalo are going to be up in this game. So I expect Jones and them to take advantage of the bad cornerback play from the Bills the last 4 weeks, allowing almost 100 yards to at least one receiver. I'm hoping that receiver is going to be Parker. I think it can be him. Only 35.5. I like that, Jim. And then Stevenson here. I think it was Spencer there asking about the rushing yards and receiving. I'm seeing 103 and a half, minus 115 at a book. I'm just going to take the receiving here, Spenny, 37 and a half. He's hit this number 4 of the last 5. Looking at the Mac Jones, they're going to have to just kind of nickel and dime. I think I don't know if they want to get in a shootout here. So rushing the ball, I think rushing receiving, I do like that on Stevenson as well. But give me the receiving, Jimmy, over 37.5. Parker to get over 35.5, guys, and then top it off, the guy throwing the ball, Mac Jones, over passing yards, 224.5, minus 115, Jimmy. He's only been getting better, and like I said, Buffalo secondary has had problems. So for me, that's going to add up to some 3 props for you guys. And I have a teaser that I don't mind. I don't know if I'm going to play it, Jimmy. It's getting Buffalo all the way up to plus 3.5, and then taking the total to under 50.5. That's minus 115. I might tweet that out. I don't know if I'm going to play that still, but that's what I'm looking for when it comes to the sides there, side total, plus 3.5 Buffalo if they do lose, just getting some more points, and then the under 50.5, Jimmy.
So let's go over a couple things. The Parker receiving yards was at what?
It was at 35.5.
At what juice?
Minus 103. Minus 103. So
Stevenson receiving yards over 37.5 was at what juice?
Minus 111, and that's going up, guys. So I jump on that one pretty quick. And then even Mac Jones, 24.5, Jimmy. I had to shop around for that. 224.5, that is, minus 115.
Mac Jones passing yards over what?
224.5.
224.5 at minus 115. And the teaser you're not making official?
Well, what do you guys think in the chat here? Like, do you think this is going to get to a real shootout, Jimmy? Like the 7 the last 9 have gone under. It's short rest for New England too here. 3rd road game in a row. I'd have to think this total is not going to get too high. So you know what? Let's add that one. Buffalo plus 3.5, under 50.5. That's at minus 115.
All right, and the teaser is Bills plus 3.5 and under 50.5.
That's right, brother. Minus 115.
Minus 115. Locked in. There's razor sharp picks in the house. It says, I'm thinking 2 gambler first glance plays. And I gave to everybody yesterday, I was like, with Butler, Kansas State, and I broke it down, and I was like, this has razor sharp picks, gamblers first glance all over it. And we cashed first half and full game by 8 to 10 points each. I love they're fun spots. So gamblers first glance possibilities coming up. A pimp slap play today from Mike M. Bills minus 3.5. Bills, the game on Pats plus 4 and the under 43.5. DC Capper, I will give you that total here, all that stuff. But let me just copy and paste these actions here from our cappers in the chat. A couple things here. We have NBA coming up and then NCAA basketball with Conor Mac. And Conor Mac will be hosting the game tonight. And it's a beauty. It's an absolute beauty. It's going to be so much fun here on Pop Sports Radio. So join us for that. And then we have razor sharp picks in the chat. And we have the Pac-12 championship. The Pac-12 championship is what our guys, Dabby Cab and Razor, will be capping. The Pac-12 championship that is on Friday night. I believe it's at 7:45. Let me just make sure that it's at 7:45 here. I have it.
It's a crime. It's a crime that we're not doing the Conference USA championship game that I will be belligerent at. It's a crime, and I'm protesting.
Yeah. We picked the Pac-12 championship over that one. So you have every right to be upset.
Hear he.
It's at 7:45 p.m. Eastern right here on Pop Sports Radio. Razor Sharp Picks and Dabby Cab, Utah Utes, USC Trojans, Allegiant Stadium here. Mike M says New England isn't equipped to run with these boys tonight. Doesn't matter who's out there on defense. A coin letting you know 41% of the ticket. Oh, no, that's on New England. Oh, and 36% ticket, 71% cash on the under 43.5. Yeah, the under has the sharp money for sure. MDR says win concerns me a bit. It shouldn't because, the way Gogster was saying it drops down. I have it 6 miles per hour at kickoff. So I have it dropping and dropping and dropping. So don't let the wind concern you at all. But there we go. Razor Sharp Picks is on the Pats plus 3.5 and the under 43.5.
Val, And one thing too, being in the stadium, like if you're on the field, right? Like you got the whole stadium around. So it's kind of like golf. I'm kind of equating this to, like if you got the trees surrounding you, you don't got the wind until it's, the higher the ball goes, the more it's going to get affected. So that's where I think just those short passes and Stevenson there over 37 and a half, Devontae Parker, great first slot catches. So,
and we have JR saying, damn, pimp slap versus gamblers first glance. That's why part of the reason why I have fun copying and pasting everybody's action. I find it extremely enjoyable. Ron Crawford, home division dog Pats, but we have a Razors action in here as well. So the gamblers first glance. We have Pats plus 3.5, and we have the under 43.5. Sharpie giving us last 5 totals from New England Buffalo, 64, 54, 24. That was such a fun game. That game, it was only running where Patriots threw the ball 3 times, right?
I don't even know what. I don't
46
think
and 45. I love it. Rocco's on USC money line. That's going to be so much fun. The Pac-12 championship. I think it's so funny. Jose is. I can see it there. He's extremely angry. It's not even a smile, not even a smirk.
No, I'm going to be there fucking belligerent. I'm going to be in the parking lot, beat boxes in hands, celebrating another UTSA conference championship. Dynastic. And we're so good they fucking said, fuck this conference. We're going to the American next year.
I'm excited about tonight's game. I got the Pats plus 5. If Andy wasn't on I feel like I'm just going to sit back with the total right now. But I'm excited about this. Gogster's got Devontae Parker over 35.5 receiving yards. Ramondre Stevenson over 37.5 receiving yards. Mac Jones passing yards over 224.5. I don't want to look up. Teaser is the Bills plus 3.5 and the under 50.5. Gogster, excellent work. We're going to get into NBA, and I've already made my bet in NBA. I'm excited about it. And then NCAA basketball right after that. We're 16-8, went 4-1 yesterday, and we have C-Mac joining us. Gogster, excellent work. Love these Thursdays together. And next week, your record, your spreadsheet for this year is up and running. So it's almost, you'll have all your records here, including everything that you've done on Tuesdays with.
Perfect.
So it'll be all encompassing here on the show. Excellent work. Go get that cash. Follow Mr. Gogster on Twitter at EGO47_. Gogster, any last words to the Capper Sport in the show?
Yes, thank you, Jimmy, as always, for having me on. I'm looking forward to whatever we have coming up next. If it's between our college shows and whatnot. NFL guys, slowly starting to creep my way up in our contest there. I see Jose. I think someone's first place.
Jose's buckling under the pressure.
All right. See you later, Gogster. And we move on.
Okay, let's move on to NBA. That's next. I can't believe Gogster got the boot. All right, we move on to NBA. 7 p.m. Eastern. Dallas Mavericks 10-10, 1-7 on the road at the Detroit Pistons. 5-18, 3-7 at home. Little Caesars Arena, Detroit, Michigan. Dallas 1-4 over their past 5. They snapped their 4-game losing streak with that impressive 116-113 win at home over the Golden State Warriors on Tuesday night. 1-4 over their past 5, playing at a pace at 97.8 possessions a game. Detroit 2-3, playing at a pace at 97.20 possessions a game. And that's the first boot of Mr. Gogster's career right there. The first boot of his career. So there's a couple key reasons why I'm on the under. And I got in late. Look, I got in late on the under. And let's speak on it. First, let's go to the line history here in Pistons Mavericks before we get into college basketball. We have the Pistons opening up at +7. They're now at +8. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 223.5 and it's now at 221. I got in at 221, and I'm not concerned. I mean, I'd prefer to get in at a better line, but I'm not concerned at that number. I think that's far too high of a number. When we take a look at the cash here in this one, we have 7,350 tickets in. 34% of the tickets and 71% of the cash is on the Detroit Pistons. It's hard to imagine backing the Pistons with Cunningham out and Ivy questionable. It makes me think with big bets coming in on the Pistons that they think either Ivy will be on the floor or the Mavericks will be taking this spot lightly after their dramatic win with a ton of care. 78% of tickets and 75% of the cash on the over. That was a big Fowlish Hound in the house. Great to see you, Fowlish Hound. That was another reason why I really wanted just to get it on the under immediately. The fact that this total would drop 2.5 points when all the money was coming in on the over made me think that this was surely the spot to get paid. Really did. JR in the house, in the Wingstop in Middleton, New York. Just put the workers onto the show. Shout out to our guy JR in the house, in the Wingstop. I love it. In the Wingstop, Middletown, New York. I wish I was sitting right there drinking a beer right beside you. This pace, first of all, is far too slow to put up a total at 223. My initial thought was this total was going to be at 218. I'm not scared to move on to 221, and seeing all these cappers hammer the over is shocking to me. We talked about why we wanted the under in the Brooklyn Nets Wizards game yesterday. The first was they were thinking of the 142-127 game in Minnesota. It was fresh in all these gamblers' memories. The total opened up at 123.5 and it went up to 129.5. And it never dropped from that 129.5, which was appalling to me. There were 120 points scored, and we had it the whole time. We had the under cash the whole time. There's a similar thing happening here with Detroit Pistons defense. Don't let what the Boston Celtics do to you to give you an idea of what a team's defense is against other teams. The Celtics are just playing at a different level right now. Let's go through this here with Dallas and then to Detroit, because there's two keys for the under for me. One is that it's simple. Dallas is a better team. They will control the pace. And if Detroit's starting lineup is anything like what we saw with Ivy and Cunningham, we know Cunningham's out, with Ivy out too, that starting lineup had one guard, Killian Hayes, Bogdanovich, Livers, Isaiah Stewart back from an absence, and Marvin Bagley. If they're going to play that many bigs, I don't see how this game could possibly go over 215. So we'll break it down a little more here. Bet that with Jason's Dallas coming in off a big win for them. Now they look forward to a back-to-back unmotivated spot. Spenny Pennybomb says if Ivy's back, probably taking his points, might go back to Hayes as well. Rob Free says just take Mavericks first quarter, get in, get out, focus on NFL. See, I don't know if they're going to they've been an excellent first quarter team. And I know you've been making a lot of money off them. But is this the spot where they're going to come in focused? So Dallas snapped their 4-game losing streak with an impressive 116-113 win at home over Golden State on Tuesday night. Luka, 41-12-12 and 4 steals, 51st career triple-double. Guy's a beast. League leading average of 33.5 points per game to go along with 8.8 rebounds, 8.6 assists. Spencer Dinwiddie, 17 points per game. He was ejected in the fourth quarter. And they brought in Kemba Walker. We're expecting Kemba Walker to make his debut here. Probably only play 10 to 12 minutes, but he was going to be in the lineup here. So Detroit comes in off their third straight loss, 140-110 at home to the Knicks on Tuesday night. It was good to have Isaiah Stewart back in action. But at this point, this starting lineup, unless Bogdanovich goes crazy from 3, it's just not a lineup that's going to put up points. And they were playing against a Celtics team who, even before last night when they were flying up and down the floor, let's just pull up the Celtics pace last 5 games before they went off against the Heat. I guess just 98.8 possessions a game. But their efficiency and the way they're hammering threes is it's just very different than what the Mavs are doing. So I love the under. There's 75% of tickets and cash on the over, and the number keeps dropping. All of the signals to me here are this is going to be a boring under game here at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. So that's that. I'm on the under. 1 game on deck. We have Dutch Boy Fresh joining us tomorrow for a massive card. Mike M says, I like the under here. The line movement and the cash flow are opposite. Ray Charles is on Bogdan over 18.5 points at -115. He's the main guy with Kate out. Mr. Always Profit says Pistons +8 if Ivy is confirmed in. That is a huge, crucial piece of all of this. And it's hard to imagine. And also, the back-to-back for the Mavs starting tonight, they're going to be very well. The last time they were in a back-to-back, Kidd was not consciously aware of the times at all. He didn't care. He played Luka over 40 minutes because he wasn't playing Luka the following night, and he knew that. And we talked that out and figured that out here on the show. All right, let's move on to NCAA basketball. I had the pleasure of doing it just with you guys yesterday, and it was great. The Butler double up was as easy as wins get. Nebraska minus 5.5 was as easy as wins get. Duke first half was a little bit in jeopardy for the first 15 minutes of the half, but then they completely took over in the last 5. And SMU first half +7, I missed that by 2 points, and that would have swept the board. And after a while, it was clear that was a public spot. It wasn't clear until about 4 o'clock, and all of a sudden, it was all the public was all over SMU, which wasn't the case with the first 1,000 tickets that were in. And then I knew I was probably in trouble. Thank you, Lee, my man. It was nice, no sweater. It was a nice no sweater. We have Conor Mac here joining us shortly. We are capping 9 games here, and we will start. But we are in the Big East, Big 12 battle. We have all 3 of them. So we have Oklahoma State, UConn. That's what we're starting off with. And then we have the Creighton, Texas game. We also have the Seton Hall, Kansas game. So we have all of those. For the other big games, we have out west, we have UCLA, Stanford that we added, and we also added Arizona, Utah. And then for the small schools, we have Youngstown, Northern Kentucky, Valparaiso, Belmont, and we have Texas State, Lamar. Those are games that CMAC wanted to add, so I'm excited to hear his plans on them. All right, let's get to work. College basketball. CMAC will be joining us shortly. We start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, the Big East, Big 12 battle. Oklahoma State Cowboys 5-2, 1-0 on the road at UConn Huskies, 8-0, 5-0 at home. Sadly, Razor, we are not talking Delaware college basketball here. Apologies. NJ Stryker, thank you for the kind words. We have looks from JT already on OK State, UConn under 138.5, and Creighton +6.5. I will copy and paste that. And Gas Report says UConn Huskies body bag. What they are doing is extremely impressive. There's no doubt about it. They won 8 straight games to open up the season, but it's not just the winning streak. The last 3 have been easy double-digit victories against extremely tough competition. In the last week alone, they beat Oregon 83-59, Alabama 82-67, and then on Sunday they defeated Iowa State 71-53 as 6-point favorites to win the Phil Knight Invitational. They're a dangerous, dangerous squad. We're at Gamble Pavilion in Storrs, Connecticut. Oklahoma State comes in off their 3rd straight win, 78-53 at home over Prairie View as 20-point favorites on Sunday. The one thing about UConn, we'll get into Oklahoma State, but the one thing about what UConn is doing is they're dominating the boards. They have David Klingon coming in off the bench, 15 points, 10 boards in 18 minutes. Coyne says UConn can guard. Listen to the points they're allowing. It's not the guard. I mean, obviously they're strong defensive guards, but they're rebounding. They out-rebounded Iowa State 48-19. That was in the final of the Phil Knight Invitational. That's how dominant they were. One thing that worked really well for us yesterday was seeing teams that were coming off of winning a tournament and fading them here in their first game back. We did that successfully with teams that were coming back and then playing a road game. And UConn, they're bad men. So let's take a look at the line history here, and then we'll get into the cash flow or point spreads. Get over to college basketball. Here we go. See where the sharp money is and see where the cash is. For this one, Oklahoma State, UConn. This opened up with UConn minus 9.5, and it got down to 8.5, but it was not the initial surge. Also, following the initial surge of cash, we didn't pay attention to yesterday, and it helped a lot. But the initial surge of cash was on UConn, and historically, I've always felt that initial surge of cash is sharp money. We didn't let it affect us. This could have got 10.5 at some books. this was at midnight tonight because this got to minus 118 on the minus 10. So this was a 10.5. Then all this Oklahoma State cash came in and it moved to 8.5. It's now sitting at 9. So there's been a half-point move since the opening line. Let's move over to thank you, Mr. Always Profitable. We're just getting started. You know, I'm not going to get too ahead of myself. It's working with all of you guys. But college football and college basketball, we've had a very successful year with this much smaller sample size than usual. So, but I'm excited. So let's take a look at let me refresh this. I've got all of yesterday's games here. The cash flow, there's a ton of tickets in on these games, which will help us. 4,714 tickets in here. 18% of the tickets and 53% of the cash is on Oklahoma State. That's very telling. Public all over Connecticut, but not moving on them with the spread. From a total side of things, 59% of tickets and 94% of cash on that over. That total here opened up at 138.5 and has dropped to 134.5. So they're begging for more cash bet on the over, which is extremely tricky. That is extremely tricky and does not make me want to have anything to do. This is Oklahoma State Cowboys or no bet. And I do not want to get in the way of what UConn's doing here. But DC Capper says the play is on the Cowboys. Do we really? I mean, they beat Alabama by 15, Iowa State by 19. They beat Oregon by 24. Do we want to sit here and be on the other side of that? And the answer is no, I don't think I do. And we'll wait and hear what CMAC has to say about it. But certainly the market is telling us that the Sharps are on Oklahoma State and the public is on UConn. And the only difference angle from what we succeeded with yesterday is that UConn is coming off winning a tournament but playing at home. BJ, nobody needs Oklahoma State to beat UConn at home, right? That's why there's that big spread there. Mally Mal says UConn had more offensive rebounds than Iowa State had rebounds overall. That's nuts. So, yeah, I'd be very hesitant to get in the way of UConn. So we will wait for CMAC to come in here and tell us his thoughts on it. Why don't we keep rolling? Next up for us is another Big East, Big 12 battle. The 7th-ranked Creighton Blue Jays, 6-1, playing their first road game of the year, and at the number 2, and there he is in the house, Texas Longhorns. Miggity, Mac, Daddy, C-Mac in business.
One sec.
Oh, yeah, sure, no worries. We had just discussed that first game, so he'll be back in action. But let's set the table up for the Moody Center in Austin, Texas. We have Creighton coming off its first loss of the season, 81-79 to Arizona in the finals of the Maui Invitational as 3.5-point dogs. That was 8 days ago. That was another thing we were successful with. It's now Creighton is the real deal. And we were sort of fading the teams that weren't the Kansas States of the world. Now, Kansas State's a good basketball team, but they're no Creighton. Texas has yet to be challenged this year in 5 games. Texas has yet to be challenged, and that includes Gonzaga coming to town and not challenging them. A 93-74 win for the Longhorns. They come in off a 91-54 win over UT Rio Grande at the Leon Black Classic. It's 33.5-point favorites. Not very much help. Razor Sharp Picks has a look with Spain over 1.5 goals. $20 on Spain over 1.5 goals from Razor Sharp Picks. Let's take a look at the line history for Creighton, Texas here. What Creighton did in that loss to Arizona showed us how serious this basketball team is. They're just extremely talented here. And you have to wonder, is this too many points? This opened up Texas minus 6.5, moved to 7, and then 7.5. What up, C-Mac, my man? How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Good?
Yeah, your money.
Okay.
Let me just finish off the setup here for Creighton, Texas. But Creighton here opening up as 6.5-point dogs. That's exactly where they are right now. But they did get up to 7.5, and there was buyback. From a total perspective, we got to opening up at 139, and it's right there, 139.5, 140. when we move over to the cash flow for this one, 7,148 tickets in, 62% of the tickets, 64% of the cash on Creighton. Then you have 36% of the tickets and 61% of the cash on the under. So public on the over, sharper action on the under. We've set up the first two Big East, Big 12 battles. Let's go back to Oklahoma State, UConn, and hear what CMAC has to say about this one. CMAC, for this one, sharps are all over Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Yeah.
But after seeing what UConn did last week, I don't know if I have the balls to get in the way. We talked about UConn's rebounding advantage, 48-19 over Iowa State. Mally Mal said that UConn had more offensive boards than Iowa State had boards, with Klingon coming off the bench. I mean, we talked about them beating Oregon by 24, Alabama by 15, and then winning the Phil Knight Invitational by beating Iowa State by 19. But here, the main point of uncomfort for me was that 81% of the tickets are on Connecticut, but just 45% of the cash. Take it away for us, CMAC. What are your thoughts on 6:30 p.m. East, Big 12 battle, Oklahoma State, UConn?
Well, you mentioned, I mean, UConn's just been so dominant, coming back home. It's a little tricky all these last few days, these teams doing this. I've been so impressed with them. You talked about their rebounding. Their defense has been incredible in this game. I haven't been impressed with Oklahoma State. They just won their last couple. Their team, I don't think that shoots it that well. They're sloppy with the basketball. I know you've already hit this game mostly. Tough is, I bet this last night. This is my first one right at the top, under 138.5. And then I woke up and this is 134.5. So not a lot of meat left on the bone, but I still think this game is close. UConn in the end pulls away. I don't want to lay it with them, but they have been so good. It's just, can this continue? This basketball team's been very, very good and impressed me a lot. But I took that last night. I'd still lean to the under. You're not getting the best value now there. I wish I had 10.5 if you wanted Oklahoma State, just to be safe, double digits if you really want to back them. But yeah, that's it.
UConn must feel so good about themselves.
Oh yeah.
I would imagine that they'd be more vulnerable in the first half of this basketball game. And the more that we talk about it, the more Oklahoma State is going to come in here thinking we're playing one of the best teams in the nation. They're going to be sharp as attack for this. And I know that the win over Prairie View is no example. But it's possible that UConn might be feeling extra good about themselves and maybe take them a little bit of time to get rolling. Is that a possibility for you?
Yeah, I agree. You know what UConn did that has been amazing? You got to go through all these. They shot the ball incredible. We talked now how great their defense and the rebounding was. They just shot it great from the field, from three, from their free throw percentage. Everything with them right now is just kind of clicking. So are they due for a bad shooting night too? Maybe early, like you mentioned. Man, I need a few more the way they're looking right now to look Oklahoma State, and even first half. But yeah, God, they've been playing good basketball.
They have been. I'm going to take a look at what I'd be offered. I'd love to get a 5. I'm sure I'm going to get 4.5. Oh, 5. Mo Harris says, "Do you think they wet the bed?" I think that their class will show. Sometimes it takes a little time to do that. I mean,
that's true.
Even like, I'm not a soccer capper, but watching Argentina's last 2 games, it took a second. They didn't start scoring until the second half. Sometimes it takes a while for the class to show. I'm thinking about Oklahoma State +5 here, first half. Problem is, I just don't know if I have the balls to do it. We'll see how much action we have on the rest of the card.
Real quick.
Yeah.
UConn, if you think Oklahoma State could cover this number, UConn does foul a lot. I went through all that last night. One of the tops. Not that that's hurt them, when you're beating teams' asses, but that could be if a game's, in the end around 10 points. You know how it works.
Mm-hmm.
A couple free throws and a late shot, and you get the back door.
Well, I've been very excited about the opportunity to cap these games with you, C-Mac. I've heard a lot of people sending me messages who've been tailing you with great success. And I went 4-1 yesterday on my own with the cappers in the chat. And
Beautiful.
sitting at 16-8. So I'm very excited about the opportunity to have you here on a Thursday with me. So we talked about, so there is the first game. That's Oklahoma State, UConn. Creighton, Texas next up. Moody Center in Austin, Texas. What Creighton did, and I know they lose 81-79, but and look, they were only 3.5-point dogs to Arizona. But I was still impressed. I was still extremely impressed by this basketball team. But Texas has not been challenged, and that includes Gonzaga on their schedule. And that is unbelievably impressive. Cash-wise for this one, 63% of the ticket, 64% of the cash on Creighton. I made the mistake of being on Gonzaga first half against Texas. And that was a loser from the tip. So I'm very excited to hear your thoughts on Creighton, Texas. Just to remind everybody, the line history here, I know that we talked about it briefly, but this opened up at Pinnacle with Creighton plus 6.5, and that's where they are right now. But Creighton got up to 7.5. And if you want to hear a book that would drop this line earlier, Bet Online opened this at 6.5, and it's sitting at 7. So take it away for us here, C-Mac. Another Big East, Big 12 battle. Creighton, Texas.
Man, this should be good. You know, a lot of people are high on this Creighton team, and I was one as well. This team can flat score, the basketball. They're just, I think in the end, all year long, they'll be top 20, top 15 scoring team here. On the flip side, I've been over-impressed by Texas. You mentioned the Gonzaga game. That's basically been it. Other than that, it's been a bunch of cupcakes. Northern Texas, where they play Houston Baptist, UTEP. I want the points with Creighton, but I worry here. See, I looked at this a couple different ways. First half, maybe. This is one. But I need them to be hot. The place should be rocking tonight there. And I think in the end, Texas can pull away. I don't love laying this number, though, too much at home against a team that I think can score and cover this number. So in the end, I think Texas wins here at home. They've been good. This game was so tough to me. These couple first games between these big schools. I like the way Creighton scores, and you give me that many points, I lean them heavy here. If you can shoot it that well from the free throw line, from 3, and fill up the bucket, I want to be there. And we'll see how great is this Texas defense. We've seen hit and miss from Gonzaga. I'm not impressed with Gonzaga too much here. They're going to roll through conference, and then we'll see again come tournament time if they can get anything done. But, they have Marcus Carr, bunch of guys that should be playing tight defense tonight. But I thought this at 7 was a little bit too much, and I lean Creighton here pretty heavy.
I'd be interested to see what happens to this line as the day goes on. Maybe very little. Maybe we already saw it go up to 7.5, and the Sharps thought that was too high, down to 6.5. Again, we have C-Mac with his college basketball show today at 5 p.m. where you'll get another, you can sit with these lines. You can sit with the market movement. One of the best things in capping in my career was when we had the morning show and the late show. It's nice to sit, discuss it,
Yes.
and then look at it again with the final market moves.
I agree.
So yeah, everybody will be interested in what you have to say. Lee Davis has an interesting point. By the way, Mally Mal on Creighton first half money line. Andrew G says Creighton covers. You'd think they played better competition, but it's tough to tell. Avocado says Creighton covers, and Lee Davis says Creighton could be familiar with this type of defense that Texas plays. Faced a similar defense in the tourney versus Texas Tech. So
yeah. Texas Tech, though, right now is not as good as Texas, I think. They are kind of a rebuilt team, the Red Raiders, and I think they'll be pretty good, but they're still going through who their top score is going to be. They're kind of all new. So, but yeah, a little bit similar on the defensive side between those two.
I like it. Look forward to hear what you have to say on the 5 p.m. show. So we'll stay tuned here. And I don't feel like I've got an edge in this one. Paul Thompson missing our Thoroughbred shows. I think we'll be back the week in between the conference final and the Super Bowl, but I miss it too, man. I miss it too. So I think we'll
Me
do
too.
Gulfstream Pegasus. Get Gulfstream Pegasus. Have you been betting any horses, C-Mac? Last little while.
A little bit.
I
Yeah.
have not been betting enough.
Not crazy. I should more. Well, you know what I am? They'll know it right here. College football is slowing down.
Yeah.
So Saturdays, baby, look out. I will be hitting the ponies. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, it's kind of it slows down in the winter, and then
Yeah, it does.
But it's award season, and then we come back. But
come around in the spring.
Let's lock in Pegasus, Paul. Lock in Pegasus at Gulfstream for the week between conference final and the Super Bowl. All right, next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern, Youngstown State, 5-2, first game of the Horizon League at Northern Kentucky, also conference first game for them. Northern Kentucky not looked very good this year. Truist Arena in Highland Heights, Kentucky. Let's start with the line history here. There's been a 3-cent move is all for Youngstown. Let's just see if Moneyline's done anything. Yeah, opened up Youngstown -120, now they're -117. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 140 and is now at 141. Andrew G saying, I remember those morning and night shows back in Costa Rica days. Yeah, I liked them a lot. I feel, I often feel guilty a bit about those days in Costa Rica because I feel like I'm so much better of a capper now after all the experiences that I had, and I was so ignorant when I was, first went down there. And, nothing I can do about it now, but I digress. Let's go over to the cash flow here for this one. 1,571 tickets in, 61% of the tickets on Youngstown State, and we don't have a cash flow yet. 63% of the tickets on the over, and no help there with the cash, just the tickets. Take it away. Oh, sorry. Youngstown comes in off their third win in 4 games, 88-64 at Western Illinois, 6-point favorites on Friday. 6 days ago. Northern Kentucky snapped their 3-game losing streak in an 85-77 double overtime victory at home over Tennessee Tech as 10-point favorites on Saturday. This is clearly a much weaker North team than we've seen in a while. Take it away for us, CMAC, Youngstown State, Northern Kentucky.
That was the key that you just said. So early, this team has been a little bit too weak here because I want to talk about this game just a little bit and touch on it because I thought my move here, if I was getting 4 or 5, would be on Northern Kentucky because I don't think they've been very good here, and I think you jump on them here at home. It's kind of been Warwick goes, they go. If he scores 20, he's their guy, they've won. If he has a bad night, he's basically their top scorer because other than that, they struggle at times scoring the basketball. It is just not very good. But on the flip side, Youngstown could fill up the bucket, 38% from 3. Very good, but they're very poor defensively. A lot of 280s, 250 defensive, all these adjusted numbers, everything like that. So they can score it. I like Northern Kentucky a little bit at home, but they've been so inconsistent. They had that home win against Cincinnati. That was decent, but a couple bad losses was difficult here. I still would lean Northern Kentucky, but I don't trust them. The better shooting team is Youngstown. They just Olay defense. I can't really look either way. Anyways, I want to talk to you about this if you had anything. And I'd only look Northern Kentucky. But
has Youngstown State been on the road at all? Here, let me just pull up their.
Not a true, I don't think. Let me look.
Let's get that up because I love fading.
There's a few of those tonight.
Yeah,
we'll get to. Yeah.
Okay. I love it, and we did it so easily yesterday with Kansas State.
Yep.
Going to Butler, and we cashed on first half full game Butler. Youngstown State, of course they went to Western Illinois and beat them by 24. I knew I had it here. They went to Navy and lost by 13.
There was that. I was looking at that game last night, that Navy game,
and they lost by 7 at Notre Dame. So this is a team that's comfortable on the road here early in the year, and there's not many of them. There's a lot of teams who have not faced road games, but have played in neutral sites.
I
don't want Northern Kentucky
at
all. So this would be Youngstown State or no bet. I find it interesting that it's moved. It hasn't moved. It moved to a half point and then came back, and the early tickets are on Youngstown State, and it's not moving. I think that's a sign that your feel on that Northern Kentucky will improve, especially at home and in their first conference game, is probably sharp. It's probably a sharp sign because you would think just studying the games that Youngstown State is a better basketball team. And I know it's a very small sample size. And the fact that the line's not moving, maybe you're right about Northern Kentucky at home.
And we're seeing a lot of ones. So to me, it's Northern Kentucky. It's basically win though tonight.
Yeah.
There is you're not getting a few points. Like, I know they won that Cincinnati game, but even if they weren't at their best, like tonight, be catching a few would be different. Yeah, no, blame Mike M. He likes it. Yeah, they did. They think Youngstown, at times can shoot it, like I talked about, but they're not very good defensively. What were your numbers on the total here to the under?
Well, at this point, because some of these smaller games, the tickets are just coming in. We have 1,622. I'll give it a refresh, but we have just 63% of tickets on the over, and we have no cash flow yet. I just did a refresh. Let's see if we can get it now. And no, 63% of tickets on the over, and no real help. So
yeah, same here. I don't really have much.
Yeah. Let's stay off of this spot. But I agree with you guys now. Now, sitting with the game and sitting with the market, that Northern Kentucky is probably the play, but they're hard to trust. It's TransCanada in the house, 5-5 in the Pub Sports Cappers contest. Nice job. Nice job. Oh, we have our show coming up in 58 minutes. So there's one more week of this quarter, and then next week starts the final quarter of the Super Contest. And the only reason why I bring that up is because we went 0-5 this last week. So we need something to get excited about. Let's move on. That's at 2 o'clock here. Cappers Contest, Jose, Bouquet, and myself. Let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern, Valparaiso Beacons, 3-4. MVC opener at Belmont Bruins, 4-3. We're in Nashville for this one. Valparaiso snapped their 2-game losing streak in an 81-79 overtime win at James Madison as 15.5-point dogs on Saturday. Belmont comes in off its third straight win, 68-66 at Georgia State on Saturday as 2-point favorites. Valpo opened up at plus 11.5. They're down to plus 9. It's just being constantly moving in Valpo's direction. Let's see what Bet Online opened this up, because we know they would have got to the market first. They opened it at plus 12, and they've moved it to plus 8.5. Wow. A huge move on Valpo, and if you want them, you are probably too late. Let's take a look at the total here. Opened up at 141, now at 140.5. When we go over to Bet Online, opened up at 142, it's now at 141. It did drop to 140.5. It's come back up to 141. We take a look at the cash flow in this one. 1,977 tickets in. They've given Valparaiso line value, very small line value here. But listen to this, 35% of the tickets on Valpo and just 16% of the cash. And the market's moved that heavy towards Valpo, which I got on Valpo early. Take it away for us here, Valparaiso, Belmont.
That's very telling, because it's kind of off that last game, Jimmy, I think, versus James Madison. Can this team carry that again? And they're just kind of feeling that maybe getting these points again on the road. Can they, at least cover this number when it's double digits? Because before that, the 30-point loss, I watched some of that Stanford game. They got beat up by Chicago State by, I believe, 13 or 14. They did not look good. Very streaky team here shooting it is Valpo. On the other side, Belmont, how Belmont is. Very, very good basketball team. They can score it here. I like this now. This under 10, I'd lay it with Belmont. The problem is I don't know what we're going to get out of this Valpo team. I don't know if they can shoot it two games in a row here, on the road and get it done. So now that it's under 10, I think Belmont covers this number. On the total real quick too, I lean over. This was just a glance for me last night. I'm not crazy about it, but I think we see points here. One problem is if Valpo doesn't shoot it. Belmont, though, not the best defense, obviously, out there. But right now, I'd lay it with Belmont here and lean over.
Did you want to open up your account here? You're making your season debut in college basketball with Belmont, or is that just a lean at this point?
Yeah, let's hit it at the end.
Okay.
I think I'll be on it.
All right, let's go back to the big boys, and we head out west. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Number 4 ranked Arizona Wildcats, 6-0, opening up their Pac-12 account at Utah Utes. 5-2. We're at the John M. Huntsman Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Start with the line history here in this one. I've been keeping an eye on the Utes, and they've had a pretty wild start to their season. They were very messy and sloppy, and they've cleaned that up. They cleaned that up, and then now they're playing real clean basketball, and I like what I'm seeing from them. Utah opening up at 6.5-point dogs. They got up to 7.5 at 8:15 this morning. It's back to 7.point dogs. From a total scenario, opened up at 155, and it dropped down to 153.5. It's come back up to 155. So interesting U-shape movement there. Let's take a look at the cash here. They've given Utah half line value at Sports Insights. And the only squad with that amount of line value that they've given on the entire card at this point, and that changes and as the information comes in, is Utah Tech against Utah State. They've given Tech half line value. So they give Utah line value here. 5,170 tickets in, and the Sharps are on Utah. 30% of the tickets, 67% of the cash. From a total scenario, 34% of tickets on the over and 54% of the cash, and we've seen it go down to 153 and back up to 155. So Arizona comes off defeating Kraken 81-79 to win the Maui Invitational last Wednesday as 3.5-point favorites or 2.5-point favorites, depending on when you got in. Utah comes in off defeating St. Thomas, Minnesota Tommies at home on Friday night as 16.5-point favorites. They were big favorites, but they played really well. And I know it's easy against the Cupcakes, but they shot 60% from the field, 62.5% from three, and they only turned the ball over 7 times. Now they have the big boys coming to visit. Take it away for us, CMAC, Arizona, Utah.
Yeah, man, this should be good. This is one of the games to go through. First real road test here for Arizona. I like Utah here in this spot. The problem is this basketball team you just mentioned has struggled, and they've struggled to score. They've been a little bit better defensively, which is surprising to start the year, and definitely they've been slow, lower scoring games. The other way, this Arizona team, I got burned with them. Creighton did get it done for me. I think they're flawed defensively. I saw that Cincinnati game. I saw all these games. I think San Diego State just got ice cold in the second half. Jimmy, and Arizona ran with it with that 17-point game. I think this could be tough. I'd sure like to have a few more, but I lean Utah here. The play should be buzzing. This Arizona offense is for real. But when you can't stop anybody, you can't lay a touchdown on the road, I think, here in college basketball. So I'm leaning heavy right now to Utah.
Same here. Do you feel that a team like Arizona will slowly wear you down?
That's what I'm worried about. Yes.
So then, at this number, might it be more appealing to expect the Utes to come out strong, with the full house at the Huntsman Center and back them first half?
Yeah. You know what? It's a couple points. That's just the problem. The first half, I couldn't do it. I don't have enough trust in this Utah team, even though Arizona's defense is that bad. I haven't loved what I've seen out of Utah scoring. It's just been that difficult. They're always great at home. This is where I want to back Utah, is in Salt Lake. The place should be buzzing, but that doesn't always mean team's going to show up. Yeah, tough for me here. It's a fine line with these first halves. I mean, you're banking on them coming out and playing well and covering a short line, a couple points when they're not the better team. But yeah, I don't mind it.
So I had Utah after that loss to Sam Houston against Georgia Tech. And then I wanted them against Mississippi State, but I was nervous. I forget why. There was something that got me off it, and they covered that one. They lost 52-49, but I thought they played well. I want to Don Play saying Utah offense, not a top offense. No, you're absolutely right there. Raven in the Desert is on the under 155. I'm going to back Utah first half here. Arizona, sure, they look good in Maui. Now let's see how they look when everybody is against them on their first road game of the season. Maybe this blows up in my face, but I see the Sharps are on Utah. You're leaning towards Utah, and I'm going to take them to take care of business in the first half. So I'm in. Let's move on to 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We have a smaller situation, then we get back to the Big East Big 12 battle. Texas State Bobcats 4-3, 2-2 on the road at Lamar Cardinals, 3-4, 2-0 at home. We're in Beaumont for this one. We'll go over to the line history first for Texas State, Lamar, and let me get this up. Here we go. We have Texas State opening up as 11-point favorites. Let's move to 12.5. So a 1.5 move. Let's take a look and see what Bet Online did here. They've moved it to 13, but they also opened it at 11. So they moved it to 13. Both books opened at 11. From a total perspective, opened up at 132.5. There's been a 4-cent move to the over. And at Bet Online, we'll see what they did. They opened it at 131, and now it's at 132.5. So a 4-cent move for Pinnacle and a full 1.5 move for Bet Online. Let's take a look at the cash flow and see if we get help here with Texas State. Where are you? Here, just give me 1 second. And here we go. Just 659 tickets in and no help. They have given slight line value to Texas State. Texas State had their 2-game winning streak snapped in a 72-65 loss to Hawaii in the North Shore Classic on Saturday night as 4-point dogs. Lamar comes in off getting beaten badly 75-50 at SMU on Saturday as 18-point dogs. And now they come back home against an easier opponent, but market moving towards Texas State. Take it away for us, C-Mac. Bobcats, Cardinals.
Yeah, I don't like the market here, but I think Lamar will play their best basketball here at home. I don't want this team really on the road. I don't want this team much at all. I've been unimpressed with Texas State. I haven't liked what I've seen out of them at all. I saw them beat Rhode Island. That was decent. They lost. They had a 4-point win at Cal. They don't shoot it very well. They're not good. They're a 66 free throw team. They shoot 28 from deep. Lamar, though, the problem is this is an ugly game. But I think they can score here a little bit. And at home, catching this many, I like them here. I'm on Lamar. I think they can hang around in this game, and I want the points.
Well, you're getting a lot of them. We have must be 13s coming. So there's some offshores that we don't count that have moved it to 13. The rest are at 12.5.
I'll wait.
Let's revisit here at the end and see if because one offshore just moved it to 13, but it's like a real dodgy one. But we'll just lock you in here for Lamar, C-Mac. First bet of the college basketball season here. I'm betting with the bag from C-Mac, and it is Lamar. And we will see. Didn't I just
real quick?
That? Yeah.
I think they played their worst game against SMU, who isn't very good. And like I said, it was on the road. I think back home, I don't like Texas State, especially laying these points. I'll roll the dice here with the points with Lamar.
I just said it. Bet Online. It's not on my front. I got to move it over, but Bet Online has them at 13. So let's give you the 13 here. 13 plus 13 at minus 110. All right, let's go back to the big board. 9 p.m. Eastern. Big East, Big 12 battle. Seton Hall 4-3. First road game of the year for them at number 9 ranked Kansas, 7-1, 4-0 at home. We're at Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence, Kansas. Let's take a look at the line history for this one. We have Seton Hall opening up as 7.5-point dogs. That is ballooned up to 10. 2.5-point move at Pinnacle. Let's see what BetLine did on the 7.5 and 10. Same deal. Wow. A big move to Kansas. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 135.5 and it shot up to 138.5. It actually got up to 139.5 and has come back. Take a look at the cash flow for this big one. We have 3,954 tickets in, 34% of the tickets on Seton Hall, and 81% of the cash. But market moving heavy towards the public on Kansas. 77% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on the over. got up to 139.5, and it was deemed too high. Seton Hall comes in off their second straight loss, 60-55 in the third place game at the ESPN Invitational on Saturday as 14-point favorites. They just mailed it in. It was an empty arena, a small little arena. It was empty, and they just third place game seemed like they just mailed it in there. Kansas bounced back from its 64-50 loss at home to Tennessee by defeating Texas Southern 87-55 at home as 25.5-point favorites. Take it away for us, CMAC, Seton Hall, Kansas.
Let's touch on Dave's thing. I don't think Texas State's a great shooting team, but you're right if they hit it. But I've seen this team; they shoot 28% from three. I'll dare them to shoot it well tonight. Yeah, let's get to it. Seton Hall has struggled a little bit this year. Their backcourt play has not been good. Turnovers have haunted them. You know, they're in the 300s. It's just been awful for this team. Last night when I saw this, it seemed like kind of like Duke, the get right spot here. At 7, I loved it. I was like, I think Kansas is going to roll here after the horrible loss to Tennessee. I think even though they're back home here, I just think this is a good spot for them in this one. The problem is this is ballooned to 10, you know, and I want nothing to do with it. This Kansas Jayhawks team can struggle shooting as well, and they're bad free throws. If you need to cover this 10, if it's close late, they've been awful this year from the free throw line when it matters, in the low 60s. But initially, I like Kansas here. I think they get it done. I think right now Seton Hall is just a little bit flawed. You know, they just haven't worked everything together. When they stepped up, they've gotten, you know, beat up. That Iowa game, I remember. There's a couple other ones where they looked not so great. But, yeah, at 10 now, I can't, you know, give it out. But I think Kansas wins here at home.
Yeah, it's moved. Moved too far, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's moved too far, the double digits.
Ugh, yeah. I guess it's going to have to be a
I lean the under a little bit, but I don't, you know, I'm not crazy about it.
All right. Let's move. Let's end this fired way up. All right. Let's move on. We move on to two big games out west. Washington Huskies at Oregon State, and then UCLA Bruins Stanford to put a bow on this show. 10 p.m. Eastern, Washington Huskies 6-1, opening their account in the Pac-12 at Oregon State Beavers in Corvallis, Oregon. Let's take a look at the line history. Opening up, Oregon State +6. They moved to +5. From a total perspective, opened up at 132, now at 131.5. Move over to the cash flow here in this one. 2,788 tickets in, 45% of the tickets, 79% of cash in on Oregon State. Interesting. Sharps on Oregon State, and we don't have anything on the total at this point. Washington comes in off its third straight win, 77-66 at home over Seattle as 4.5-point favorites on Sunday. Oregon State comes in off its fourth straight loss, and it was pretty ugly. Their Phil Knight Legacy Tournament was pretty ugly. They finished it by losing 83-71 to the Portland State Vikings in the 7th place game. They were 4.5-point favorites. It was a pretty easy fade. And that game went off at 11 a.m. It was empty. Nobody cared about it. And Oregon State played poorly. Now they come home and face the upstart Huskies. I can see why the Sharps are expecting a bounce back from the Beavers. What do you think here at CMAC, Washington, Oregon State?
Yeah, this is Washington. First, those all neutral before. This is their first true road game, right? Or do they play at St. Mary's? I'd have to double check that one.
I'll pull it up, but keep rolling.
Okay, pull it up. I've been impressed a little bit by Washington, especially in that St. Mary's game. And Seattle was all over them. We talked into detail about that game the other night. Could Seattle, who's always lost to Washington, and they did again. Now it's like 16-0, 15-16-0. And because this Seattle team's pretty good, and they could score. And they just kind of faded late in the second half, their defense. That's what I was worried about. That's why I wasn't crazy about Seattle with the 5. Man, if you look at these Oregon State against Portland State, which I think Portland State, though, we talk about Portland, we like Portland State, horrible, but I think they're a little bit better how god-awful they were last year. But those losses are ugly. And you look at this with Oregon State. But we're back at home here. I like the points with Oregon State. This is one I looked at right away last night, and I liked. Kean Brooks has been really good for Washington. They've been able to score, but I think on the road here, this could be tight, and I want these points, the 5.5 with Oregon State.
Yeah, I agree. They played Fresno and St. Mary's neutral, but they've not played a real road game yet.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, I think this makes a ton of sense. I want to join you on this Oregon State look. CMAC moving on Oregon State. Let's get this up here and find the best line for you. And it's moving towards Oregon State. All things point to Oregon State handling their business here. +5 we can get you. Do you want the hook at Pinnacle? I could see how much it costs because it's only -104 for the 5. Do you want the hook?
What are you gonna get on it?
Let's see. I imagine it'll be under -115. Let me just grab it here quickly. Go NCAA. Here we go. Oh shit! Sorry, just got to do a quick refresh. Here we go. The late game. I love these late games. Like having action on these late games.
I love them.
Washington, Oregon State. The 5.5 is -113.
Yeah, give me the 5.
5 at -104. Oregon State +5 at -104, and I will be joining you on this. All right, so we are in business. Somebody says, what do you guys consider an easy fade? Nothing. I don't. There's no easy. There's certain angles where you're like, maybe we use the term easy fade, but we're saying that we have confidence, but nothing. I think easy is probably the wrong word that we shouldn't use. But there's certain situations where you would like to fade a team when they're riding extremely high. You want to back a team when their coach is railed into them and you're going to get complete effort. I think that was just simply put. Do you have a better answer to that question, C-Mac?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like I just said, we should say that. But I think that's the way to look at it. And I like this game right here. I think Oregon State tired after that shit loss. Now they're back here at home, catching these points. This is where I want to be on them.
Yeah.
So
you can expect full effort here, and the Huskies feel good about themselves. I believe they won 6 straight. I think they open with a loss here. The days of Nate Robinson and Brandon Roy are long, long gone in Washington.
Oh, yeah.
They've shown nothing for years and years and years and years. They were my favorite college basketball team back when they had that front court, and Brandon Roy played all 4 years. Long gone. Yeah. I like your look on Oregon State. Oregon State +5 -104. I'm going to join you. Let's move on to the final.
I think there's a little hope, though, Jim, real quick. I think they're a little better this year. I mean, we will see. It's still so early. But as bad, I just mean it's been so bad the last couple of years. Anything's better.
Well, they had hope in the year that the COVID shut everything down, too. There's been a couple times where we thought, oh, here's the bounce back coming. And then, their star player will get injured, or something like that. But let's move on to the final one. Number 21 ranked UCLA Bruins, 5-2 at the Stanford Cardinal, 3-4 at Maples Pavilion in Stanford, California. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one. This has all gone UCLA's direction. They opened up at -5.5, now -6.5. There was 4s at some offshores. BetOnline opened it at 4, and it's at 6. It went up to 6.5, came back to 6. So that's interesting. So it's at 6 at BetOnline, 6.5 at Pinnacle. From a total standpoint, opened up at 136.5 and has dropped to 135.5. Then when we look at the cash flow here for UCLA Stanford, 2,788 tickets in, 23% of the tickets and 74% of the cash on Stanford. All this supposed big bets coming in on Stanford, and the market not concerned. 72% of tickets on the over, and the total not climbing fast. This is a tricky one. UCLA comes in off its second straight win, 81-60 at home over Bellarmine as 23-point favorites on Saturday. Stanford comes in off its second loss in 3 games, 56-48 in the 5th place game at the ESPN Invitational to Memphis on Saturday as 5-point dogs. They shot 29.3% from the field. They were awful, and they didn't care about the 5th place game. They didn't play well. This, to me, I thought was a good bounce back spot for them. But seeing the market move towards UCLA makes me really want to pause here. Let's hear what C-Mac has to say. Yeah. Final game on our board for today's show, UCLA Stanford.
That's exactly how I felt in this game. I just don't like all this money, this love for UCLA. I think people think they're the way more talented team. And I don't know how much we know of Stanford. You know, I do like them right here at home. I know that. And you know what? This is tough. I don't love going against anything. But if I had 7 or 8, I think Stanford can hang around here. This team struggles to score at times. You know, they've been slow, low-scoring team. And I don't think they've really found their identity, you know, offensively yet, this Stanford team. So it's just tough for me here. UCLA, obviously, the way more talented team, had a couple tough losses, close games, 5-point games to Illinois. It's not easy to go in Pac-12 on the road and win by margin here. So I lean Stanford. This is one I wanted to think about a little bit longer because this early in the season is about trusting some of these teams to get it done that I don't know. I haven't seen enough from them. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I haven't gotten enough information. Are they really this bad of a shooting team? They're all right defensively? We know they're pretty slow and low scoring. So UCLA wants to get up and down. We do know that. But they can get into a kind of a dogfight type game. I lean Stanford. I just don't love all this move and all the love to UCLA early.
I would be on Stanford.
Yeah, I'm blaming you. Me too. This is one it's the late game here. I'm looking at this one.
Yeah, and I look forward to hear what you have to say on the 5:00 show. I'm to see the bigger bets coming in on Stanford, confirming our thought that they're going to bounce back at home here, and then seeing the market move even further in UCLA's direction means that I have to either stay off or flip, and I don't ever flip really. I just stay off.
I agree. I wouldn't flip. That to me is just a stay off. So that's why I'm right with you. The feeling with this game.
Yeah, that's tough. Very, very tough. Okay, let's review all action here. I'm going to move on Oklahoma State first half +5. I need the 5. Creighton, Texas, I am off. 7 p.m. Youngstown, Northern Kentucky off. Valparaiso, Belmont off. Now jump in if you want to add anything here to your card. I'm going to be on Utah first half. CMAC is on Lamar +13. Seton Hall, Kansas, we are off. CMAC's on Oregon State. I'm going to join him on Oregon State, and I want the full game there. Mally Mal's on Creighton first half money line, and UCLA, Stanford, we stayed off. So your official picks here on the show are Lamar +13 and Oregon State +5.
Correct. I still like that under. I just can't give it out 4 points. The UConn Oak State. And yeah, on the late show, the Belmont and Creighton, I'm going to think about those just a little bit. Man, I don't know if I want Creighton tonight or not.
Well, it's great. I like double dipping and then hammering all. And there's so many other games on tonight's card and big ones too.
Yes.
That CMAC will be hammering on the 5 p.m. show here on Pub Sports Radio. Great to have you running college basketball like you did with us last year. It was a lot of fun last year, and you did a great job. Nice to have you back in action here. And I like my looks here with the help of you and the chat. And TransCanada letting us know that an arrest warrant is issued for Antonio Brown.
Right. He's on top of that.
They showed a clip of Antonio Brown in the beginning of the year beginning of his career, and he was like so well spoken, smart, thoughtful, gregarious, funny. And then they showed a clip of him taking a headshot, like a real bad headshot, And then they showed another clip of him a couple years ago, and like it was like, oh god, like you fear that CTE is such a big part of his.
Yeah, he's man. Yeah, the decisions he's make aren't. Not everything's going up right up there.
They
Yeah,
aren't thoughtful decisions. And like the interview they showed of him, he was like, like he just sounded like the perfect type of teammate and a thoughtful, kind guy. It's I fear that CTE is part of this, and poor Antonio Brown. All right, let's review all action. But CMAC, I know you got a ton of work to do. You can catch CMAC today at 5 p.m., tomorrow at 5 p.m. Oh, tonight, though. And we talked about it a lot earlier. Tonight hosting our live bet stream. We talked about it during the NFL breakdown. What a fun game you have, CMAC. Ooh-wee. Thursday night football. And we got Patriots, Bills, and we had both sides here. We had Pip Slat play today on the Bills -3.5. We have Razor Sharp Picks, Gamblers First Glance on the Patriots +3.5.
Love it.
We have some on the over, some on the under. We have Andy Molitor on the over, and we have a bunch of cappers on the under. Sharp money on the under. And man, it's wide open. It's going to be really, really fun to live bet. What a perfect opportunity you have. For tonight. The game here is on the Pats +4 and the under 43.5. We have Josh Allen rushing yards over from Sharpie. Who's going to be guesting with you on tonight's show?
Sharpie will be there. Nikki Fish Tanks. I think Spence might join us. I wrote him earlier. Anyone else, too, hit me up. I'll shoot you a link. I'd love to have you on, Jimmy, if you have time. I know you're a busy man.
The main thing here for me is I'm drying out here.
Okay. Yeah, I feel you. So you're drying to the weekend.
I'm so excited about this game. I wouldn't mind. I would really love to jump on with you guys, and I'm really excited about the game.
No pressure.
It's just I'm trying to take a week off the sauce. I feel like like I want okay. But I'm gonna think about it.
Okay.
And nobody rail on me if I do pour a drink and join it. But look, T-Mac, I look forward to more opportunities to cap with you. And what a fun Thursday night right here, 8 p.m. sharp. Check us out live bet stream for Patriots Bills, and follow CMAC on Twitter at Conor Mac Picks. CMAC, any last words for the capper supporting the show?
Oh, shout out to the chat. I'm sure you're going to hit them all. I know you got to get rolling. You have another show, Jimmy. But as I always say, best goddamn chat in the goddamn game. Hands down, these cappers in here. Take them over anybody else, period. And thanks for having me. Can't wait for this Thursday night football game. I love it because I think there's arguments for both those, the side and the total. Always great info, and all this when we can give it. And we're on different sides. It's just how people look at a game and cap it. So I love it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I got Patriots +5, and I wanted to move on the total, but seeing so many cappers on either side, I think I'll just sit back and watch it. But live bet it. That's where the cash
that's
is.
where I think we're at. Yeah.
It's going to be very cold, but don't let anybody tell you it's going to be windy because it looks like it's going to die. It's windy right now, but it looks like it just keeps dying off and dying off. I have it 6 miles per hour at the start of the game.
That's what I have. Yep. Yeah, I have 6, 7, 8. Yeah, at game time. Yep.
I love it. Join CMAC tonight with the boys. CMAC, thanks so much for joining us. Let's do a final review here of all action on today's show. NHL, 3 bets I made before the show started. I'm adding 2. I'm on the over 6.5 in Colorado Buffalo. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today's on the New Jersey Devils. Lightning Flyers, we stayed off. Gogsters on the Penguins first period -110. I'm adding the under 6.5 in that game. Gogsters on no goal first 10 minutes +155 in Edmonton, Minnesota. I'm adding the Wild -1. I'm already on the Blues +115 and the Canucks at +115. That's my whole NHL card. New England +4 now showing at circa, says Coin. Interesting. Lightning Stars moneyline parlay for Mr. Gogster, and he gave that out as a birthday pick to Clint. Gogsters on first period, both teams to score at +150 in Montreal, Calgary, and the Capitals at +110. And he's on the Gogsters first period, both teams to score +130 in Florida, Vancouver. And he's got a correlated parlay Kings over 6.5 at +1 and a +180. +180. Okay, so there we go. In NFL, we just talked about some of the looks there, so we don't need to add to that. In NBA, I'm on the under 221 in Detroit, Dallas. And in NCAA basketball, we just went over all of that action. I'm on Oklahoma State first half +5. I'm going to be on Utah first half +3.5. Connor's on Lamar plus 13 and Oregon State plus 5, and I'm joining him on the Oregon State. And I'm going to make those bets now because in 25 minutes, we pop off for the Cappers contest show. Now, I know everything went wrong last week in the Cappers contest for us, but that doesn't mean they're not money-making possibilities for us. So, we try to get the cash this week. We're only 28, 29, and 2, so it's not like we've completely fallen off. But starting next week is the final quarter. So if we get off at a 5-0 start, and maybe have a chance at a quarter prize, or if we go 0-5, we can go last on the quarter and pick up $25K that way.
Sure. I just want to fucking slap. Well, actually, I did. I went to the lab this weekend and I figured my shit out, and I'm coming. And it's going to be a great time, and it is going to be a new leader in the Cappers contest this weekend again.
Well, I look forward to have our show. Our show will be a lot of fun.
Congrats. Good job by you. Good job by you not finishing right on the showtime. Good job by you.
Yeah, well, I can get my bets in and not panic and maybe even eat a sandwich. Well, probably can't eat a sandwich, but get my bets in before showtime. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. There's Gamblers First Glance there. Pats plus 3.5 and the under 43.5. Nunya, Sun Dizzle, Elliot V, Billy Friedrich, Coyne, Jarek White, Dana Delp, Trans Canada, Mike M. Domplay, Mo Harris, Mally Mal, OG, being with me since I started, and thank you for your support, my guy. Great capper. Andrew Carr, Know Something, Lee Davis, XCal 360, The Gas Report. What a group, man. DC Capper, Raven in the Desert. Just thankful to roll with you guys. So you know how we do. Let's get that cash. Roll that shit, light that shit, smoke it. Leche. Hey, los bookmakers!